Yo, what's up? My name's Petrowski, and I have over 9,000 hours in PokeMMO, and I know better than anybody, the storylines can be quite tricky. Compared to traditional Pokemon, the PokeMMO AI is much smarter. They also get EV-trained Pokemon in much better movesets, as well as sometimes wielding powerful items like typing gems, which can really cost you some Nuzlockes. So because of all this, today I'm going to be showing you guys my PokeMMO Unova storyline guide. Now, it may not be the best storyline guide of all time, especially for speedrunning, but it should be good for the average player to help you get some tips and tricks and truck through the PokeMMO storylines. So let's go ahead and get started. First things first, you want to be very careful when selecting your new character in PokeMMO to make sure you select the starting region be Unova if that's what you're doing, if you're starting a new account, or transfer over to this region via the docks once you've completed a region within PokeMMO. Now, Unova, actually, fun fact, is in my opinion by far the best region to actually start in with PokeMMO. There's tons of money-making methods, EV training spots, decent XP training spots, and as well as it being the best region to do gym reruns in with only one region done, since the first gym counts as 3 gyms you can rerun. Which, if you don't know, gym rerunning is one of the premier money-making methods in PokeMMO. But I'm going to go ahead and create my character, Unova Biker, over here, and jump into the storyline. You're going to immediately be thrown into a pivotal decision in choosing your starter Pokemon. Now, this brings up a really pivotal conversation. What is the best starter Pokemon? In my personal opinion, in Unova, it is Samurott, aka Oshawott. This is actually my least favorite Pokemon in terms of design or personal preference. But in terms of power, in my opinion, Samurott takes the cake in Unova. People will often argue Tepig or Emboar, and I understand their points. He is much stronger early game, so if you're just trying to rush through the early game, maybe get to like Gym 4 or so, and then buy a bunch of really good Pokemon, honestly, Tepig/Emboar is probably pretty good for that. The problem is Emboar falls off really hard in the mid to end game, and it makes it really difficult to use him against the Elite Four when he has to constantly set up a Flame Charge to become fast enough to then throw off any other attack. Emboar seems like a really powerful storyline Pokemon on paper. He has decent bulk with his 110 HP stat with his 65 defenses. That ends up actually being pretty tanky-ish. The problem is his typing isn't very tanky. He's fire fighting. He has a really nice 123 attack stat and a 100 special attack stat, so he can go a mixed attacker, which is nice but often not needed in the storylines. But he has that 65 base stat speed, and that's what really hurts Emboar. Outspeeding Pokemon in the storyline is crucial because every time you don't outspeed, you're taking a hit that you didn't need to. So for those reasons, I actually believe Emboar is the worst overall starter in Unova personally for power-wise reasons, and I recommend picking Samurott rank 1, Superior rank 2. It's kind of just like a neutral in-between of those other options, and then if you want to speed through the first 4 gyms only and then switch things up, you can go ahead and rock Emboar, or if you just like Emboar, more power to you. He's a killer pig. So following my own advice, I'm going to go ahead and pick Oshawott over in the starter box. And we're going to be engaged into a fight that's going to make a big mess of our room. These fights are your pretty typical early game fights. You just want to hit them with the attack move over and over again until they pass away. And if you're like me and you're actually winning the whole fight and then Tepig outwins the speed tie at the very end, that's okay. Losses don't really matter here, thankfully. Turns out 9,000 hours still couldn't help me in the starting fight. After fighting Bianca, you'll also fight Cheren really quickly. And this is going to be a common theme in Unova. You have the most rival fights here in PokeMMO, as well as the most dialogue of any storyline. Now, if you do manage to defeat one of them, you do get a little extra 380 Pokeyen, which picks you up an extra Pokeball or 2, which is relevant because in Unova, in my opinion, it's probably the most important region to get a few catches early on. But we'll get to that when we get to that. First things first, you want to head out of your home, deal with some more dialogue, of course, and then we want to follow Bianca over to her home. After some more dialogue, of course, your starter Pokemon in PokeMMO will be given 15 IVs across the board, as well as a neutral nature. This is meant to balance things out and make it easier for the developers to actually balance the storyline around everyone having a similar start, as opposed to some people getting something like a bold 031 attack IV Pokemon and then being put in a pretty rough predicament. You want to then head out of your home to the bottom left house. This should be Bianca's house. You could always check the mailbox to double check. Alright, so you want to take your first steps inside of Bianca's house, and that's going to trigger a dialogue between her and her daddy issues. That dialogue is over with pretty quickly. You want to head back outside of the house and then make your way up north over to the lab right here. And then go talk over to Cheren. You'll go and meet the professor by walking inside, heading over to Professor Juniper. You should get your Pokedex here. After spamming through some yapping dialogue, the professor will run out, and then we need to go follow her and go catch and collect some Pokemon. If you walk outside, she'll give you the town map. And after a ton more dialogue, you can finally get control over your character and make your way over to Route 1. You then, at the start of Route 1, take your first few steps together with your 2 rivals. They teach you how to catch Pokemon and give you 5 Pokeballs for free, which you then want to use to catch as many Pokemon as possible on this route. Because your rivals here are going to challenge you to a mini game of sorts where the more Pokemon you catch, the better. And the Unova early game is quite difficult. You actually run into a pretty tough N rival fight coming up, a 3rd rival fight that happens, as well as the first gym leaders being some of the most difficult. So having a lot of these Pokemon early on is going to be super important. I am going to have an encounter counter in the top right corner as well to track how many encounters I get within my storyline, and I always recommend new players to install an encounter counter to track your encounters to give you an idea of how many you've gotten. This is really good for adding perspective when it comes to shiny hunting. A lot of players will finish all 5 storylines and think that they should have gotten a shiny by now, but actually only be at like 2,000, 3,000 encounters in total, right? So it's really good to have actual numbers on how many encounters you have so you don't end up falling into shiny sort of entitlement. Obviously, the lower HP you get the Pokemon down to, the easier it will be to catch. So 2 tackles into this Patrat into a Pokeball should be a pretty guaranteed catch here. Or he could break out because he is a little gremlin. Or he could break out of 2 Pokeballs, which I've never seen before personally. And after 3 Pokeballs, unfortunately, we finally catch him. It's going to hurt our ability to catch more Pokemon, but that's okay. That's how it goes. And every single time you catch a Pokemon in PokeMMO, you want to go check the stats. This one has no 31 IVs and nothing really relevant, no good nature, but it's really important to go check because checking what Pokemon have good IVs and have value is super important. If you see any green number, any 31 IVs like this, a Mon that has 31 in the IV stat, it's going to have some value of some kind. And it could be really high, like this Ditto being the correct nature with that stat, ends up being 29, 30k, which is really a lot of Pokeyen for a new player. But it's more often than not going to be around 4 to 10k, depending on the species. Now, I ran into another Patrat, but I went ahead and just ran from it. You do want to catch many Pokemon, but it's really important to try to get different species. Number 1, Lillipups can evolve into Herdier, and then Stoutland, which is actually a pretty powerful Unova storyline Pokemon, or pretty decent if you get a good IV one. And also, you do want to slowly work on completing your Pokedex. Now, it's not super crucial to try to catch every single species across every single route on the way to completing your region. That's actually like not efficient in my opinion. It's better to just beat a storyline quickly, get a high-level catching Pokemon like a Breloom or a Smeargle, and then go back and complete your Pokedex. But getting a few things along the way is definitely nice. If you talk to this like nurse type NPC on the right side of a bush on the way up to the first city, she'll give you a free potion. And once you reach the sign, I believe this is the last patch of grass, you want to make sure you caught enough Pokemon here to sort of beat them in their little competition. Let's see who has the most Pokemon. 3, that's awesome. Are you excited to have those many? Yada, yada, yada. Yap, yap, yap. We have a little Zoom meeting. And now we can finally make our way over to the main city, which I strongly encourage you, first things first, before you do anything, head over to the PC and try to heal, because otherwise you're going to not mark your location. If you were to be killed or you were to wipe out before marking your location of this PC, it'll actually send you all the way back to the first town, so you don't want that. And after tons of dialogue, she'll introduce you to the healing center, the PC, and then the PokeMart, which you probably do want to go ahead and spend whatever Pokeyen you do have on Pokeballs. And the next time you leave the PC, you'll be triggered over to this dialogue / I believe there is a rival fight after this. You're going to have to zoom through a lot of Ghetsis yapping. Now, I believe you can actually press Control plus whatever your A key is bound to. And if you hold left Control plus your A key, mine is Z, for example. So if I hold Control Z, it does slightly quicker, slightly faster zoom through all of this yapping and dialogue. Okay, after tons of Ghetsis yapping, then N comes up and yaps a ton to you as well. And then this will trigger into a fight, which you do have to beat him on, or you have to listen to all of the yapping over again. So I strongly recommend getting like level 7 on your starter Pokemon. I got Water Gun on my Oshawott at level 7. It's going to make a big difference here, so that now I can go ahead and click Water Gun. This is one of the reasons why it's so relevant to catch those Pokemon on the early game route. It is so annoying to lose to this fight multiple times, and then have to listen to all of the yapping again, just for the chance to refight N. So now, since we took the time, whenever you catch Pokemon, you also get XP, which is really nice. Now that we took the time to do that, we have Pokemon where we can go ahead and switch around to if we need to do some sort of sacrifice switch, or just spam water gun into our oppositions. We're a little bit higher level now, and we have that potion that we picked up on the way to the town, which is really important and might be needed in this fight. And there we go, the first rival end fight out of the way. Now you might want to heal after the end fight as well, which I'm going to do really quickly. After healing up, you want to head over to the west to go on to the next route. Head out the tunnel to the other side, and you do want to fight this trainer. Specifically, one of the biggest recommendations I recommend new players do in PokeMMO is fight every single trainer possible. It's going to give you more XP and a little bit of extra Pokeyen along the way, which is really, really helpful. But you get more XP from defeating a trainer battle in PokeMMO. You get more XP than defeating a wild battle. You get something called a trainer XP bonus. So it's really important if you don't want to fall behind on levels in the storyline, which is one of the #1 mistakes I see players do, because in traditional Pokemon, you get so much XP, it's actually better to just skip the trainers and speed things up, right? In PokeMMO, I really recommend just taking the time to fight every single trainer. It will go by a lot quicker than you realize, and it will save you a lot of frustrations and headache in the future. Can we even fight this one? So we can't even fight her, but you want to fight whatever trainers you can run into. All right, you can pick up that potion in the grass over here and then head this way and you'll run into a trainer. I might even head back down south again and fight this other trainer down here that is not required, but you could do as an option. So I'm going to head down here, like I said, and interact with this guy. He might just be teaching me how to jump over this. Yeah, he's just a tutorial. Sometimes a tutorial, I wanted to make sure, because I want to make sure I fight every trainer possible, it's worth checking. Continuing to the right of the route, I do want to try to fight every trainer possible, so I'm going to purposefully walk in her path and take this fight. Once you make it past that trainer, you want to head over to the right and then head up north through this bush. I'm getting a little low on HP here on my Pokemon, so I'm going to dodge this trainer, go heal in the city, and then come back to fight him. And thanks to the power of PokeMMO, I honestly would have forgotten this, but I can tell, since there are so many people here stuck in a line, all in battles, there is a rival fight here. So it is important to sometimes use the MMO aspects of information at your disposal. This is going to be a rival fight, so I can preemptively potion my Oshawott since it's low HP, now that I know there's a fight here, and then I can head into it, and that's going to make it a lot easier for me. There we go, boys. It's important to keep an eye on things like that. She will have one Lillipup in her team for this fight, and then one of the other starters depending on which Pokemon you chose. So it should be the starter that you are strong against, I believe, always. I could be wrong on that, but I'm going to Water Gun down the Tepid. That should one-shot, I think. Close. It's going to be a close fight, but we do live to see another day, and go ahead and wipe out the nice pig. As you can see, fighting every trainer is helping our Pokeyen stack a ton, which is really nice, as I do want to go buy a bunch of Pokeballs here in a quick sec. I'm going to go heal, like I said, and then go fight that trainer that I skipped previously. But now we are in Striation City. This is one of the tougher gyms probably in the whole region, since this first gym is always going to counter you. So if you picked Oshawott like me, we're going to see a grass-based team come at me here. Before we unlock the ability to actually fight the gem, we have to go fight, I believe, Cheren or someone over in this little training school. But before we do that, we actually want to head over to the east, over to the Dreamyard, and go collect our free elemental monkey. We have to fight some people here, but there's a really important free Pokemon we get here that's going to help us prepare for the next few gyms. All right, you want to just fight every trainer on this route, head over here, and I believe it's this NPC. If you talk to her, she'll be like, hey, what was the first Pokemon you received? Wow. You know, you picked a water type. Well, here is a fire type to help even out your team. And now I can use this Panseer to take on the grass type Pokemon that are about to come out to try to counter me for picking my Oshawott. So this is a huge Pokemon to pick up, the Elemental Monkey, at the first gym. And you also get a free Elemental Stone in Castelia City, which we'll get to in due time, to evolve your monkey for free. So I really cannot recommend enough to pick up the free elemental monkey. It's something that I made the mistake of not doing for an extremely long time in PokeMMO. After doing that, that route is pretty much taken care of for now. You can head back over to the PC. I might grind some levels. You could grind some levels yourself, get your Panseer a little bit stronger. You shouldn't need to grind for levels too much in a PokeMMO storyline. If you are like fighting every single trainer, you might need to grind for like maybe 1 to 3 hours max, but even that's like kind of extreme. You shouldn't have to grind for levels too much in a PokeMMO storyline for the entire run. If you fight every trainer and you do things properly, you can avoid a lot of the brain dead wild grinding, or if you prefer that, you can do that. Now, before I go grind this route for a little bit of XP, I want to make sure I buy some Pokeballs quickly, so in case I run into a shiny or a Pokemon that I really want to catch, I am stocked up. We have enough Pokeyen now. I don't really think I'll need potions. I think I might even have... I have one extra potion. That should be all I need for now. I'm just going to worry about Pokeballs. Pokeballs is the most important thing in my opinion. It's going to help you make more Pokeyen and build up your team early on in your Pokemon adventures, I'm going to just spend 1,600 all on Pokeballs there. If you head back to Route 2, the route we just came from, you can actually head over to the east from that trainer we went back and fought and find 2 free Pokeballs over here, which have a free potion and a free Pokeball. All right, I leveled up my Pansear up to around level 12. I'm now going to head over here and finally take on that fight. Now, this guy should have I believe Cheren should have the grass type starter here, which is going to make our Pansear lead a bit better, but he might lead with a different Pokemon. If he doesn't lead with the Pokemon himself, like his grass type, it's better to switch out and do something called a sacrificial switch. Allow him to kill your Pokemon to then bring in a better Pokemon that you want in that situation. So he is going to lead Snivy, which is perfect for me. He's going to lead Snivy. I lead with my counter. I can then go Incinerate. This is why picking up the Elemental Monkeys early is so good. That's going to hit him down to 20% or so HP and burn up his Oran Berry, which is super important. This whole fight, what Cheren was talking about was he wanted to test how good using items were in battle. So being able to counter that specifically with Incinerate, which burns up any berries, is just icing on the cake. So yeah, Snivy into Purloin. We're going to go ahead and Incinerate both of them and then heal up and move on over to the first gym. Now make sure to heal up, and by this point you might have a few Oran Berries sitting around, which you do want to go ahead and equip to your Pokemon before this fight if you want to use them and get that heal during it. So we're going to go ahead and start engaging with this fight. He's going to figure out what Pokemon is struggling with me. He's going to be my opponent for this gym, and you do have to fight a few people before. You can also get a free, I believe, fresh water, which heals, I think, 30 or so HP from every single NPC that looks like this at the start of each gym. I believe in each region in PokeMMO. We need to pick what type is super effective against this type. Pretty easy test. So we're going to go water into fighting this NPC. You could dodge him, but like I mentioned earlier, you want to fight every single NPC if possible in PokeMMO. It's much better for XP curve. The first trainer just seems to have 1 Lillipup that is level 11. Next up, you want to click the little grass icon because it counters water, of course. Definitely didn't misclick that off camera there a second ago. When I head up and fight the next trainer, there should be, I think this is the last, and there's only 2 trainers you have to fight on the way to the gym leader. This trainer will have a Purloin. A lot of these mons have Fake Out as well. If you have something that has like Oblivious or Own Tempo at this point, you might be able to dodge the flinching, but I don't know if there's a mon that has access to that this early on, to be honest. Your Pansear or your other Elemental Monkeys might have the Gluttony ability as well, which really matters when we're putting on those Oran Berries. So keep in mind that it will trigger the berry at half HP instead of the lower amount. This trainer just seems to have 2 Purloins, both of them being level 10. Now, one thing to watch out for during the storylines is that the game will automatically refill consumable items if you used it in a fight. So my Pansear consumed an Oran Berry in that fight, and it automatically, after that fight was over, took an Oran Berry from my bag and put it onto the Pansear. This is something that's really important to be aware of so you don't accidentally consume more berries or more consumable items than you would actually like to. I went ahead and walked out of the PC so I could go heal up really quick, or walked out of the gym so I could go heal up. Now that I'm full HP, I could go click the final symbol and then walk up to the gym leader, which is actually 3 gym leaders. Make sure to lead your elemental monkey here, and then if they happen to lead not one of their grass types, you could switch out, but they should be mostly grass types here. They are going to switch around and counter you depending on which starter you picked. So since I took Oshawott, they're always going to make me fight the grass gym leader. Let's go ahead and jump into it. We're against Sillin. Lead Lillipup. So because he actually leads Lillipup here, I am going to switch out. Because I don't want to waste, even though my Pansear realistically could be fine here. It probably is totally fine to just keep my Pansear in, and it's not really that big of a deal. But I'd rather him keep his HP high. There's just no reason to. I'd rather switch to my Lillipup, let it sacrificial switch, let it die, and then go to my Oshawott and now go for some sort of attack. So even if he goes to the grass type now on the Oshawott, right? I can still get chip damage with my water gun, and I'm getting more value out of my Oshawott than I otherwise would have. So we see a little bit of chip damage here. There we go, down to 83%. I think I'm just going to keep hitting water gun. I could actually go for tactical here. I think it would be slightly more damage. You have to consider stab when it comes to playing the storyline. It's something very, very important to consider. If you don't know, stab equals same type attack bonus, where if you use a move that shares a typing with your Pokemon, you get a 50% boost damage. So water gun starts at 40, right? It gets reduced because it's not very effective. So it gets hit down to 20 base power damage, and then it gets buffed from stab, which is 50%, so it gets put up to 30. So right now, Water Gun has 30 base power, whereas Tackle has, its base 40. So I'm going to go ahead and Tackle here for a little bit of extra damage. I do have an Oran Berry on my Oshawott, which will allow me to get maybe one more attack in here. We're going to get a Tackle off and do 19%. This is going to put my Panseer in a position where I can just switch it in here, one shot, finish off the Pansage, and then I should beat the Lillipup in the 1v1. So now I can go for an easy Incinerate, and that should obliterate the Pansage. We outspeed because we took the time to level up our Pokemon as well. Beautiful. And now it's just us versus Lillipup. Same thing here, Incinerate for the extra stab damage, right? We just talked about that. So Incinerate actually ends up doing 60 plus 9, ends up having 90. It's effectively a 90 base power move here because it gets the stab increase, which is really, really significant, versus Scratch being just 40% damage, or something else like Lick being 30, but having that 30% chance to paralyze, right? You obviously want to go for Incinerate there. And there we go. That is the fight taken care of. And there is our first badge. You may not have to use as much strategy as I'm employing here. I'm kind of doing a little bit of overkill, but I want to show you guys how much control you have over your fights and all the different decisions you could make to make your fights a bit easier. PokeMMO really can be beaten in a ton of ways, but it's all about showing you guys as many tools and tricks and tips as possible to make your storyline runs as easy as possible. That is going to increase our maximum obedience level, which is super, super important. One of the most important things during any PokeMMO storyline run is keeping an eye on your max obedience level and understanding what level of Pokemon you can use. If a Pokemon gets over this max obedience level, you just cannot use it in a fight. It will self-KO itself upon using any sort of attack. So thankfully, the game will not let you go over that level cap just by train your own Pokemon, but you could buy something off the GTL. If I were to unlock the 4th gym badge, which is when you unlock GTL access, I could go as a new player and spend all of my Pokeyen without thinking on a Larvesta. Oh, Larvesta seems really strong in the storyline. Let me get that, right? I might accidentally do that, and then I have a Larvesta that's level 47 that I can't even use. And I spent all my Pokeyen and made a massive mistake. So keep an eye on your max obedience level. Super, super important. All right, then after defeating the gym, this lady will drag you up to this little dream room, and she will give you access to the HM cut. She is then going to talk to you and ask you about the Dreamyard, so you do have to actually head over there to do a little part of the storyline now. Now that we have access to Cut, we need to teach one of our Pokemon Cut. This is another reason why catching some of those mons early is beneficial. Now I can have my HM friend Patrat. I can use this to cut down this tree and head further into the Dreamyard. And if you try to run deeper in, you'll get stopped by Bianca and have a little bit of dialogue and a little bit of a co-quest with her. If you head deeper inside, you'll run into Amuna, and then I believe some Team Plasma members will come out trying to capture it. You have to fight off the Team Plasma members. The first Plasma Grunt is packing a level 10 Patrat, and the second Grunt just has a level 10 Purloin, so it should be pretty simple fights. I am going to continue using the Panseer at the moment as well, because the next gym, I believe, is going to be a Bug-type gym. So this Fire-type is going to remain being beneficial, at least for the time being. I do want to switch back to my Oshawott at a certain point and start getting XP and trying to evolve that into a Samurott as soon as possible, but we'll work on that when we get to it. Then after defeating the 2 Grunts, Ghetsis and some other people show up. There's your typical Unova yapping you got to spam through. Then after some more dialogue, the scientist will show up and pick up the Dream Mist that she needed. Then after this interaction, she will say, why don't you go over to Fennel's house? And Fennel's house, if you don't remember, is just the same house the scientist dragged you up to. So you want to head back into that house and head back upstairs. And she'll give you this kind of item, the Sea Gear. I don't know if it's actually relevant in the storyline, but it's just something to progress the storyline. All right, I believe after going through all that dialogue, we then can head to the left and then head back north. This route was previously blocked by this old man. He wouldn't let you go, but now we should be able to pass through. You can actually find the daycare, the breeding center right here. Now, we can't actually use this quite yet. You don't gain access to the breeding center until I believe you beat the 4th gym badge or get to the 3rd. It's a few gym badges later. We're going to go rescue the old man during the desert route and save him, and he'll unlock us that. Now, I am going to head over here and see if I can fight any of these trainers, if any of these are trainers you want to fight, because I want to be able to fight every single trainer on each route. So I'm going to go ahead and crank through all these, and I'll see you guys after. My Oshawott is starting this route at level 13. I'm starting to level him a bit more because I can evolve my Panseer via a Firestone, which is coming up, but this requires level 16 or so to evolve. So I'm going to work on leveling him for the evolution base stat power differential. All right, now this next step is the most important part of any storyline run. You want to make sure to hop up to the top of the slide and go down. And if you can continue heading west over on Route 3 after you defeat all the trainers, you'll get into a Cheren Fight, and then I assume some other fights as well, since we see some other Pokemon over here. Now, you might want to not do what I did. You might want to lead a Pansear because they're going to counter you here. I messed up. Should not have let Oshawott into this fight. That's a mistake that I made. That's okay. We're going to sacrificial switch over to Patrat. So we sacrificial switch, so now we can head over to Pansear safely and go ahead and throw up an Incinerate. Now, Cheren has his Snivy, a Pidove, and a Purloin in this fight. Get around 1,000 Pokeyen for defeating him, which is awesome. And then you see some Team Plasma grunts running through here, which we're probably going to have to chase into a cave. All right, Team Plasma did steal this little girl's Pokemon, so we have to go assassinate them. Now, we can go grab this Pokeball really quick before doing so. And you actually, if I recall correctly, cannot head down this route. So you don't have to worry about this route quite yet. I believe we can't travel down it. Yep, that'll come later on. Now, if your Pokemon are a bit damaged, like mine are, I also believe you could head back to the daycare right in this building. Head inside, and there's not a healing center inside, but there is a PC that I believe you should be able to use even if you... Yes, so you can actually plop your Pokemon inside, and if you withdraw them, they will be fully healed. So you can't heal them like at a Poke Center, but you can effectively heal them. So that's a quick way to continue on instead of having to walk all the way back to the town. Now, quick note that this spot right here, Route 3 in Unova, if I were to pop lures, I didn't buy any lures, but I'm probably going to do this after this cave thing. You can pop lures and actually encounter Tepig here. So if you wanted to run through the Unova storyline with multiple starters or any storyline, one of the coolest things in PokeMMO, in my opinion, is you can actually go wild catch all of the starters. So if I wanted to do a, Kanto playthrough, I don't have the Pokemon on deck, so I can't really see it, but for Unova, for example, if I wanted to do the Unova playthrough with a Snivy, Oshawott, and a Tepig, I can do that. I can go catch a Tepig using a lure at Route 3 in Unova. You have to pop lures, which are kind of like a reverse repel that you buy at Pokemarts. I could go catch a Snivy in Pinwheel Forest with a lure and make sure I have all three types as well as all three starters for fun in the storyline. And you know what? Before I forget, I'm gonna head back to the town, go to the Pokemart and pick up some of those lures I just talked about. You don't need too many of them. I'm gonna pick up 4. They're a bit expensive. At the beginning, 600 Pokeyen a piece is kind of a fair bit, but they will help me catch some of the starters and have a full team for that. So now I can head over to my bag, keybind the lures just by dragging them up to the hotkey bar, and I can press F1 and go ahead and try to encounter a Tepig here if I wanted to. Now, I don't think I want to do it quite yet because I want more Great Balls. These Pokemon are very difficult to catch. The starter Pokemon have very intense catch rates, so it's better to be really prepared for them before you start on that journey. Now, I am going to go ahead and run around here and go battle this trainer and pick up this Pokeball before helping Cheren tackle the Team Plasma grunts. All right, I went ahead and caught a Blitzel and a Pidove along the way because they were pretty easy catches and they add to the Pokedex. And there we can actually see our first 1x31. It's around a 1 out of 5, 1 out of 6 chance when catching wild Pokemon to get a 1x31. And we did get this. Now, we can't really do much with this yet, but once we unlock the 4th gym badge, we can sell it. Unfortunately, 1x31s at the time of recording, yes, as you can see, are very cheap. They're not worth as much as they used to. I used to be a big fan of catching 1x31 Pokemon for profit, and that's a whole different discussion that's much more advanced than for this video, but for various reasons, the market for 1x31 Mons has been hit pretty hard, and I don't recommend catching Pokemon for profit nowadays, or at least catching like any Pokemon. You can still catch certain ones like Dittos or Torkoals or things like that, but catching like random Pidoves is no longer the 200k Pokeyen per hour that it used to be. Okay, well, I accidentally popped a lure, and I'm really close to the patch of grass anyway, so I'm going to just sit here and see if I can find a Tepig. If you don't want to use lures, make sure to not bind them the way I did and then accidentally click them, because that wasting bit of Pokeyen that early on is really going to matter. Now, I get an important level up here on my Pansear. Level 16 is going to give me access to Yawn, which can be a really powerful move. I'm going to go ahead and pick that up over Leer. Right, a few minutes of no Tepig later, we're finally ready to head over to the cave, get a proper Pokemon in our lead slot. Probably going to rock the Oshawott, try to get some levels onto it. It should evolve here very, very soon. Level 17, which will give us a nice power spike. Head into the cave and get prepared to fight some Team Plasma grunts. Should be pretty simple fights. Now, this fight actually is a double battle. So if you actually have your your Pansear like I do, it's worth to pull that out because Incinerate is an AoE move. This move is actually really, really, really good early on. Incinerate is going to allow you to hit both Pokemon at once and allow your partner to make more mistakes, aka the Cheren that you're using to double battle these Pokemon. So I'm trying to target down the Patrat. He's going to help me take him out. So 1 Patrat down. Now, after defeating the Team Plasma Grunts, you want to head back outside of the cave, head back to the route, and head to the east, and they will essentially thank you for saving this girl's Pokemon. And now we can head down this path, which we previously could not, and fight the trainers here, pick up the Pokeballs, etc. And if you keep heading down this path, you'll run into Cheren once again, who will teach you about Dark Grass, which allows you to get 2 Pokemon encounters in one, which can be really beneficial for XP grinding when you have that Incinerate Panseer. And after that, you can just continue the route as normal. All right, after fighting off a ton of different trainers, you can finally make your way over to this tunnel through the Nacrene Gate, and then make your way over to Nacrene City. This is going to be Gym Badge number 2, as well as a lot more yapping, of course. It's all we ever do in the Unova storyline. We do get some free Chesto Berries, which is nice. Make sure to go heal up, of course, as my Pokemon are very damaged at this point. All right, after arriving to the new city, you probably want to go into the PC and try to heal really quick, and then I'm going to try to head inside of the gym, which is most likely going to trigger something like this. So here is an N interaction. I don't think there should be a fight here. Just kidding. Of course, there's another rival fight because welcome to Unova. Now, our Oshawott is 1 level away from a level up, so we're going to try to focus on getting XP on him. N has a Pidove, which is worth noting. But this is most likely actually a Zoroark. He almost always leads with a Zoroark, so it's something to consider. Yeah, we see a Snarl come out. This is definitely a Zoroark. Keep that in mind whenever you do any of the N rival fights throughout the Unova storyline. He almost always leads with the Zoroark or Zoroark. Now, the Zoroark has an Oran Berry, so it's really important to incinerate it, but I'm also getting personally really hurt by this Snarl, lowering my special attack when all of my Mons are mostly using Spatak moves. I think I'm going to end up doing something very funny here, but kind of strategic. I'm going to go into Panseer and lick the Zoroark, hoping to paralyze it. I really, really want the speed differential so that then I can bring in my Oshawott. It's a 30% chance to paralyze here and go for water guns while outspeeding. We do get the para, so that's going to be super relevant. Now I could also go for an Incinerate. I'm going to be minus attack, but I still think it's ideal here. So getting that paralyzed is really, really relevant. I feel like it's one of the only ways I can actually win this fight because I'm in a really rough situation. Someone was mentioning in chat, and I super agree. The end fights are tough. All the end fights, dude, all the end fights in the Unova region are just really, really difficult, and you cannot sleep on them or disrespect them. Okay, we had a few unlucky things happen in this fight. Double crit into double speed drop on Mudshot. That's okay. This is a good example of sometimes you're going to lose fights in the PokeMMO storyline and you shouldn't feel bad. I think in traditional Pokemon, you almost never lose fights in the storyline. It like doesn't really happen. And I want to show people, like, even with 9,000 hours, sometimes you lose fights. If you prepare properly, you can obviously avoid this, but usually in a storyline, you're trying to speed through things. So I'm going to go get some extra levels and come back and do this fight more properly. All right, there's level 17 on our Oshawott, getting us a Duat, a nice little evolution, as well as an important move with Razor Shell, giving us a higher increased base power on the attack, as well as a chance to lower the defense, as well as dodging the Snarl debuff on Zoroark. So this should be the power that we needed to now push through this fight. All right, end fight take number 2. He has a Pidove lead. I think it was it's a Zoroark lead disguised as Pidove. I almost forgot already. We're going to go ahead and Razor Shell this into the Snarl. The Snarl's going to hit me for 32%, lower my Spatak, which I now ignore with Razor Shell, and I hit him for a nice 71. That should put me in the position to win this fight now. All right, there is the Pidove defeated the End's final Pokemon. So that is that rival fight out of the way. Just Duat was able to 1v6 as well. The difference of, I literally gained 1 level on him, and that was the difference of being able to beat that fight and not. This is a good question. Someone said, if there's a ×3 horde for Gible, why don't I see more shiny Gibles on the GTL? There's only one. This is a great question. There are, in my opinion, 2 types of shinies when it comes to shinies on the GTL. Okay, I guess really actually 1 type. It's usually shinies that people accidentally stumble into that they weren't aiming for, right? People don't like aim for a shiny to hunt just to sell it, right? It's usually like, oh, I got a Tentacruel as my first shiny. I don't really care about that. A Magikarp, a Geodude, a Gyarados. These really common shinies that, more importantly, can accidentally, the important factor is, can accidentally be stumbled into during the storyline. It is really difficult to accidentally stumble into a shiny Gible during the storyline in PokeMMO. You can't really do it. You kind of have to go deep in this cave, right? You have to go super deep in the cave, and you have to pop Sweet Sense, and like it's not, people don't accidentally run into these very often. So you can, even the ones, so the Gabites that you see on the GTL, look, they're all met Victory Road, right? They're all met accidentally during the storyline. Most shinies that people sell on the GTL are ones that they just accidentally stumbled into during the storyline somehow. That is this one as well. Almost all of them are found at Victory Road, which probably means this person was doing the storyline. Another one, dude. All of them, right? Like, It's people who were doing a storyline, ran into a shiny they didn't really care about, and they were like, fuck it, I'll just sell it, you know? Which obviously I have my own feelings about, but literally all of them are at Victory Road, right? It really comes down to that versus going to the back of a cave and actually like ×3, because I don't think the I don't think the Gibble Horde is in Victory Road, correct? I could be wrong, but I think it's in, what cave is it? It's one of the weird caves. I want to say it's like deep inside of some weird cave. But anyways, like, yeah, I'm not sure. But yeah, it's not easy to accidentally run into a Gibble shiny versus things like a Carp versus things like a versus things like a Mighty Yana, for example. Accidentally ran into shinies get sold, right? Purposely hunted ones don't. Alrighty, with N defeated, you should be able to make your way into the gym now. I want to go ahead and make our way over to the gym leader. This gym is partly a museum and partly a little library area. This should be a normal type gym if I'm not mistaken, so you really can bring whatever type Pokemon you want. Obviously a fighting type would be nice, but I don't have that. It won't be really relevant for this kind of fight. After a bit of Unova dialogue, you can continue forward, make your way over to this guy, get a nice free fresh water, and then fight this trainer here, and we'll have to go read a few books. This trainer does have a level 17 Patrat with Retaliate, so you'll take some decent damage here. We'll probably end up going to heal up before coming back and actually take on the gym leader. I believe the first book should be right here. You can go ahead and interact with it and say, yes, you want to read this book. It's a small brown Pokemon referencing Patrat, saying, hey, yada yada, could you solve these questions for me within the library? Here is the first question. What's the first Pokemon you met in this gym? And then say the hint, it's in one of the books in the middle here. You then go over to this left book in the middle, interact with that. Next up, you want to go talk to this girl and interact with her because the next book says that someone is actually reading the book. You want to go ahead and interact with her. This is the next one. This will also trigger a fight with the scientist. You might need to interact with this book as well once again after actually defeating her. And we're going to head to this girl last. You want to actually come back to the entrance type area and head to the book to the right here. And then after that, you should be able to go talk to this girl, and she should give you the final question and also unlock the staircase here in a quick sec. After fighting this trainer, you probably do need to interact with the book once again, and this will unlock the little secret staircase. You can go ahead and do this, and then go heal up and come back. So you can unlock the staircase, go heal, and come back. All right, now it is time for the normal gym fight. I'm actually going to go ahead and put Cut on both my Duat and my Pansear, because it's just a stronger base type attack, normal type attack, versus Scratch, right? So it's actually just a little bit of a power increase, which it's pretty rare that Cut is going to be a power increase. So it's nice to use that while you can in the storyline. And you can also rewrite HMs in PokeMMO with TMs or other moves, but you cannot rewrite HMs with other HMs. So really important little storyline tidbit to keep in mind there. I'm going to go ahead and jump into this fight blind and just see what happens. It's very possible I lose to this fight. We have to retry it, implement a little bit more strategy, maybe a little bit of XP training. We'll have to see. Let's just jump into it. Watch Hog is the lead. I believe she has a lot of Watch Hogs and Patrat, maybe a Lillipup or a Herdier. I think she has a Herdier in the back, if I recall correctly. Level 18 Watch Hog. He shouldn't have access to Fake Out if I'm not mistaken. I'm going to just go for Razor Shell. Retaliate, doing 40% off the back. He's probably going to KO me here. Is it worth to sacrifice switch out? I don't know if it is. I want to check base stat speed on my Pansear, 64, versus base stat speed on my Duat, 60, so it's like basically the same. Probably getting outsped no matter what. I probably just stay in and go for a Razor Shell and just hope to live. Yeah, we do live. We get off one more Razor Shell. The defense drop might actually allow me to kill there, which is beautiful. And we get a crit as well. I don't know if that crit mattered, but really close call there on the Duat versus Watchhog. There's the Herdier I was talking about coming at level 16, though. Much, much lower level than I was expecting, which is really nice to see. We get intimidated. Perfect situation. It is so worth it here to just sacrifice switch. There's no reason not to sacrifice switch here. We want that extra attack stat. Intimidate, lowering our attack by 1 is very, very relevant. So we're going to sacrifice switch out. And I can even bring in Pansear here in case of a berry of sorts. It's very possible Herdier has an Oran berry. I'm going to bring this in, go for Incinerate. Only do 24% damage, which is not ideal, unfortunately. We could even go for Retaliate, does 54. We do outspeed. We outspeed, doesn't have a berry. Incinerate's not doing too much damage. What I want to do here is I want to yawn the Herdier, and then I can let this thing die, bring in Duat, and then potion on the Retaliate as it falls asleep. We can go use our fresh water, which is free from going into this gym, which is nice. An extra 30 HP. We'll see. Retaliate is 28%. That's going to keep me nice and healthy. He's going to fall asleep. I could go ahead and potion again, which I kind of want to, or just Razor Shell. I don't know if Razor Shell... I'm gonna Razor Shell first. I don't know if it will kill. Yeah, it doesn't quite kill. I want to take advantage of that guaranteed sleep turn. He could just wake up right here, but I'll be faster now, so now I can go ahead and go for something like, they're both not, you want to check, Cut is 95% accurate, and Razor Shell is 95% accurate, so there's not really a reason not to go for Razor Shell there, so I'm going to go for that, but you want to check in situations like that when your opponent is 1 HP, you want to see if you have a more guaranteed 100% accuracy move, because sometimes you hit that 5% miss. In comes Dino. This should be a pretty tanky Pokemon, but it shouldn't be able to do too much damage to me, except for Retaliate. That might lose. I think that loses me the fight. That is GG's, but it was really close, and we learned a ton about this fight. I feel pretty comfortable coming back. I'm going to be XP training a bit, coming back, and we can definitely beat this on the reattempt. I'm going to go do just a smidge of XP training. You can actually head over to the next route, or start heading over to the next route over near Pinwheel Forest. Fight some trainers over here. Get HM Rock Smash by talking to that NPC. I definitely knew that would happen. And then also do like, encounter Pokemon over like Temple, or catch more powerful Pokemon over here as well. There's some good water types here. Now, actually, picking up Rock Smash might be kind of a genius idea that I definitely planned out ahead of time. You could go pick up Rock Smash and then go use that fighting type attack against Lenora herself. So we're going to do that. We're going to teach Rock Smash to a bunch of our Pokemon and then go try that fight one more time. If you Rock Smash the rock over here and head through this little fence, you can also pick up a free Super Potion right here. All right, attempt number 2. We're going to go ahead and jump into it. We're going to lead Duat again. That should work well enough, I believe. Get to level 22 on it. There's a level 17 on our Panseer. Watch hard lead. Now, I'm going to try something a little different this fight. This was a tip from Danny in chat. Since all of the Pokemon have Retaliate, and Retaliate is a normal type move that gets boosted if used after a Pokemon has died, right? So my plan is to switch out. The defense drop is huge. Now I can kill this. Same as... I just misclicked. Oh, that sucks, actually. That might not kill it now. No, okay. I got really lucky. Thankfully, that still killed. That was a misclick. That was not as much damage, I believe, as Razor Shell. So Rock Smash... Even if it's super effective, it's actually not worth to click here over Razor Shell. Razor Shell is 75% base damage plus stab, so it's 75 plus 50%, which is going to be more than Rock Smash doubled to be 80 base power, right? So now I'm going to switch out. You basically, against the cheat code to Lenora is always switch out after you kill a Pokemon. After any KO, always switch out, because Retaliate is going to be boosted to such a degree where it's going to be insane. So it's just always worth to switch out just like that. So now I can head over to something like a Panseer and go for Yawns and Rock Smashes. The last mon is Herdier. We know that. Am I more scared of Herdier or Dino? I think I'm more scared of Herdier. So I'm going to go straight over into Duat. I don't think Dino can kill me from his HP. Now that we dodged the Retaliate damage, we should be good. I'm going to go for the Razor. Razor Shell can also lower defense. The defense drop would be huge here. Retaliate only is 18% now. Beautiful. It can't even kill me this next turn unless it crits. And we hit. Is that crit as well? Beautiful. This fight is going much, much better. So now I'll be able to switch out again after KOing the Audino. I sacrifice switch again. Also, we dodged Intimidate. Just having multiple Pokemon in your party. Sacrifice switching is one of those powerful things you can do in Pokemon. We're essentially taking on the storyline right now with only 2 Mons. And we're doing it. All right, now this fight should be set up to where I should be able to take on the Herdier here and go ahead and go for a Razor Shell. As long as I don't miss. Missing there would be brutal and probably cost me the fight, but we do take the win. Defeating this gym should give you the basic badge, gym number 2, as well as increasing your max obedience up to level 27 and around 2,000 extra Pokeyen. You should be now around 10k or so Pokeyen, if not more. And of course, you also get a TM Retaliate representing the difficulty of this fight. And then after the fight is over, another storyline event will trigger where Team Plasma goes and steals the dinosaur head from the museum. And that's going to look a little something like this. All right, after a bunch of dialogue, we need to go heal up and try to chase after Team Plasma, I believe in Pinwheel Forest. If you head back over to the west towards Pinwheel Forest, you'll run into Berg over here, who is also chasing Team Plasma. You can just follow him into the forest. Now, I'm going to move Panseer to the front of my party since he'll be doing a lot of work against a lot of these grass types in the forest and get some nice free XP. And once again, like I mentioned earlier, just battling every single trainer is always the right thing to do in Pokemon, in my opinion. So I'm going to start by just running to the left and kind of following the one path that exists in the forest. You could also head up here and battle these trainers. It's really hard to go wrong when you're starting the forest because you just want to battle every trainer possible. But the path here should be pretty simple. It's really just making progress, going deeper into the forest. I'm going to go heal up really quick since I've taken a fair bit of damage and come back and continue defeating as many trainers as possible. I ran into a Pansage while going through the forest and went ahead and caught that. That should even out my type trio, fire type, water type, grass type. So we'll definitely go grab that from the PC when we have a sec. They're kind of a rare-ish encounter here, so it's worth to try to catch the elemental monkeys if you see them. Okay, but if you keep following the main left path of the forest, eventually you'll make it to this guy. You'll also head down here. There's a few more fights we have to do. Make sure to just take your time and feel free to head back to the PC and heal every so often. It's better to play it safe and slow versus trying to speed through everything sometimes. But worst case scenario, if you do white out, you don't lose Pokeyen from whiting out in Pokemon, which is really relevant. In the traditional games, you usually lost a lot of Pokeyen or lost some Pokeyen from whiting out, but you don't in Pokemon. So if you lose a fight, you just lose a little bit of time. That's really it at the end of the day. So as long as you persevere in the Pokemon storyline, it's hard to lose. I believe when you make it through this log, this should be the last fight where we actually reclaim the dinosaur head. So make sure you prepare a little bit. I'm kind of underprepared for this fight, but I'm hoping my Duat is leveled up enough to where it should be sufficient. This guy is packing a level 14 Patrat, so we should be well good to win this fight. All right, with him defeated pretty freaking easily, we get the Dino Skull back. I believe we need to go deliver it to the museum, or they will just come to us here in a quick sec, which, yeah, looks like that. Yeah, as expected, Lenora will come take the skull back from us, so we actually can just continue on to the next city if we so choose, which I probably will do. I probably have enough HP on my mons to just go ahead and keep walking up the bridge. If you then head east from that location where you had the final fight, you can come pick up a free Miracle Seed, which will be relevant if you have any grass-type Pokemon, like that Pansage I just caught, and then head back over here, and it's probably worth, I'm going to go ahead and head back down the bridge, like I talked about, and fight every single trainer possible, even the ones that are optional. Even though I've already beaten this part, I could just head straight forward, but I want to get every little bit of Pokeyen and every bit of XP possible to avoid wild XP farming. All right, after fighting every single trainer you want to, you can then continue to head north and get a nice, beautiful view of this bridge. One of the coolest visuals in PokeMMO, in my opinion. Keep heading through and just make your way across. Oh, this is the bridge. This is probably like the coolest visual in all of PokeMMO. Not even just one of, but just the coolest one, man. I love this bridge. Very beautiful. Good to appreciate it while you're here. I have started the recording of many, many video guides and big projects on this exact bridge, so it's very nostalgic for me. It's a cool place, man. Watch the camera should change here in a quick sec, I believe. It should zoom in here for a little bit. Yeah, there we go. All right, now that we are over in Castelia City, there's two things I want to do. I want to, number one, go heal up immediately, so just in case I faint, I am set back to this PC. And number two, go grab the elemental stone, the free elemental stone for our Panseer. So I'm going to head over, I'm going to save really quick, heal up really quick, and then head over to a specific dock. So heading from the PC, I believe you want to head all the way over to the east. It's the most east dock. Head down here. And there should be, I believe, this scientist you talked to. Yep, this scientist you talked to. And make sure to double check to select the correct one. Which one do you want to evolve? I'm going to click Panseer. You could also get a free elemental stone of a different variety if you would want. But I'm going to grab the free Firestone. And then go ahead and immediately use that on my Panseer. You could delay it to learn certain moves. But in my opinion, in PokeMMO, unlike traditional Pokemon, the power increase from the base stats is more relevant than the moves themselves. You can do a lot of things like that. All right, next up on our Castelia City docket, we want to pick up our first XP share. We actually unlocked the ability to do a ton of things over in Castelia City now. So we can head to the first building to the west of the Poke Center that has a door out front. You can actually read the sign, and it will say Battle Company. If you go into the Battle Company, and then go to the 55th floor, I believe, and battle a janitor, you'll get the reward of the XP share. So walking up to the elevator, interacting with it, and trying to head to level 55. Beautiful. We can just head right there. And it should be the janitor, which I assume is this NPC. But I'm not 100% sure. Pick up this nice little free super potion. Some people have to fight one NPC to get to him. And honestly, the more NPCs you fight in this building, the better. That just means more XP, and it's prepping you more for the upcoming bug gym. This NPC does just have one of each of the elemental monkeys, so you can try to prepare for that fight via that if you would like to, but it should be mostly pretty simple, just using sacrifice switches and positioning well where you may need to. With him defeated, we can go fight the, I believe, what is the janitor? Hopefully, at least. If not, we'll just fight every single trainer in here. Nothing wrong with that. Yep, this is Janitor Jeff, even though he introduces himself as the CEO, I believe, which is kind of a good meme. This guy does just have 2 Trubbishes, it seems like, so it should be a pretty easy fight. And with this fight defeated, it should give you access to the first XP share. You do actually get 2 XP shares in Unova, which is a massive benefit to it compared to the other regions. Let's see. He says, thank you for battling. Go ahead and take this, a nice XP share. Now, whenever you're ready, head back over to the PC and go ahead and heal up. And I believe there's one more thing we have to do before we can actually take on the gym leader in Castelia City. All right, to trigger the next event in Castelia City, you do need to run from the PC all the way west. We do have to make our way over to the gym, try to walk inside, and then Cheren will attempt to stop us, and we trigger a little storyline event. You have to go right through this street right here at the very left side or west side of the city, go forward a bit, and then up to the right is going to be the entrance to the gym, and here Cheren will interrupt us, and then out runs Berg, aka the leader of this gym, and he asks you to wait a bit while he has to deal with Team Plasma. Now, Team Plasma is down at one of the docks, so you want to head back to the center area of the city, and you want to head down the main center pier dock area right to the left of the PC. It's the biggest one, and bam, it should trigger the cutscene. A Team Plasma member will show up and run away, and we have to follow them with Berg. Now, you want to head back the way we came, all the way to the left near the gym once again. Once you're close, you'll actually see the trainer himself, and it'll trigger a cutscene as you get closer to him. We'll have to run down this alleyway, enter the alleyway like so. Then I believe we have to go inside of this building up here to the left and fight some plasma grunts. Make sure to heal before this if you need to, of course. You can actually choose no if you aren't fully healed up to prepare for this fight if you'd like so. This first trainer leads with a sand dial, so we're going to sacrifice switch out, of course. And I feel like I've reached a point where hopefully I've shown you guys enough details and advice when it comes to the in-game storyline battles. So I'm going to be a lot more succinct when it comes to these and sort of skip over the fights a lot more unless they have something very important that happens to them or a specific mechanic like certain gym leaders or fights. There's that Team Plasma grunt defeated, and they run away out of fear into the building. And we will have to charge in to get back our stolen Pokemon. So inside the building we go to prepare for a bit of a classic Pokemon gauntlet. Make sure to hold Control Z or Control plus whatever your A key is to zoom through all of the gnomes speaking. And it turns out you just had to use a little bit of talk no jutsu on them because just simply discussing things with them has them turning over Bianca's Muna, and we can continue on the storyline thankfully. Classic Unova, just a lot of dialogue. And if you go and interact with the Pokeball that they left here, you can actually get yourself a free Smoke Ball. After completing that, we then can go head back over and take on the gym if we so choose, but I'm going to do a little bit of XP training on my Simisear beforehand, which I'm going to do by heading back over to that battle tower type building and go through all the NPCs on level 47, which I didn't fight previously. And if you're looking for a place to XP farm in this situation, I strongly recommend you do the same. My Simisear is now up to level 21, and I'm also going to pick up some super potions or other, medicine that you might need jumping into the next fight. I'm personally going to go ahead and just grab like 4 super potions. I'm sure I'll use them in the future. Now, thankfully, I already have a couple antidotes, or else I would pick those up, and I might even make sure I have at least 1 paralyzed heal. You might see some status effects in these fights. I'm not personally worried about burn or ice against the bug gym, though. I'm also a massive fan of always having a handful of escape ropes on a new account like this. So I'm going to go ahead and pick up 3 of those just in case. Repels are nice too. I'm going to pick up 3 more of those and pick up some great balls while we're spending our yen. You generally do want to save as much Poke-Yen as possible when you're playing through the storylines, trying not to spend a ton on potions, but it's also okay if you do. However, when it comes to Pokeballs, you really can't go wrong. You will always end up using Pokeballs. It's really hard to spend too much Poke-Yen on Pokeballs because you could always just use them to catch Pokemon and make more profit. Now, I'm going to do something that is a little bit overkill, but right before I go fight the bug gym, I'm actually going to try to go catch a Darumaka on Route 4 up here near the Desert Resort. Route 4 is the most powerful route when it comes to catching storyline Pokemon in PokeMMO, period. I don't care what region you're in, what generation you're playing, this route is insane. It gives you access to Sandile with Moxie, Scraggy with Moxie ability, and then as well as Darumaka/Darmanitan, which I mentioned just briefly before. So I'm going to go up here and try to find myself a nice Darumaka if I can. If not, it's not the end of the world. I'm going to be using my Yawn ability to put them to sleep to try to get some better catches, better catch rates. But these Pokemon are extremely, extremely powerful. Moxie is just a very, very powerful powerful ability. What Moxie does is when you KO an opposing Pokemon, it boosts your Pokemon attack stats. So you're able to snowball. If you're able to set up one Dragon Dance with a strategy, and then KO one Pokemon, you kind of just run away with the whole fight, and you kind of end up sweeping every single Elite Four and every single gym. It's really, really, really powerful. Setup moves plus further abilities to further your setup is really good. The only downside is that Strategy and Sandile are a little weak until you get them evolved, especially Strategy into Scrafty. There's a massive power jump, and Sandile into Krokorok is a nice big jump as well. There is a Strategy caught, but with the timid nature. So unfortunately, this is unusable in my opinion, even though the attack IV is high, which brings up another good point to mention. Nature is so much more important on storyline Pokemon especially, but in Pokemon in general, nature is so much more important than IVs. If I had a 15 attack IV strategy, which you know is kind of in the middle, the max IVs, if you don't know, is 31, which is why this one shows up green. If I had a 15 IV strategy with adamant nature, which would be plus attack and minus special attack, that would be so much better than a 31 attack IV strategy with a neutral nature that affects no stats. Because nature affects stats by 10%, 10% ends up being a lot more significant than the few digits that IVs factor in. It's hard to tell since these Pokemon aren't really trained, but one of the coolest things in PokeMMO is being able to head over to a Pokemon stats, hover over the stats, and see how they get those stats. You can actually see Strategy is losing -4 attack from the nature and +5 from the IVs. If that nature was positive or he was EV trained, it would look a lot different. We can do the same over for our Simisear and see that it's going to mostly end up gaining stuff from the EVs since all the IVs are 15 across. But back to catching Pokemon until I can get something usable. Here's a Darumaka. Now, we're also not quite there yet, but these can also be amazing Pokemon to catch for profit, since people want them for the same reason I want them, for the storyline. So a 31 attack IV Darumaka, for example, is around 10k. If we also look for like a Darumaka with, let's say, 20 plus attack IV and 20 plus speed with an adamant nature, the cheapest one's going to be about 9k, or 35k even, which is kind of ludicrously expensive for a storyline Pokemon, but people are willing to save time, myself included. Saving time is so important in a storyline. Now, even though PokeMMO is seen as a Generation 5 game by many people, it actually has a lot of Gen 6 plus mechanics. For example, catching Pokemon does grant you XP, so while I'm catching good Pokemon for the storyline, I'm also getting XP on my Pokemon and making better progress towards my next gym. And here is a beautiful catch. It's Moxie as well. A naughty Sandile, 20 plus in attack and speed, plus 20 plus and a lot more of the defenses on top of Moxie. It is a plus attack natured Pokemon with 20 plus attack and speed with the correct nature. This is exactly what you want in a storyline Pokemon. This is going to do wonders. Unfortunately, Sandile's not very good against the upcoming Bug Gym Leader, since the Bug type attacks are actually super effective against him since he's technically Dark type, but Krookodile has been known to sweep the Unova Elite Four alone, so it is definitely an investment. Okay, pretty lucky catches. Got myself a Scraggy as well. That is Shed Skin, so it's not as good as Moxie, unfortunately, but it's Brave Nature plus attack, 31 speed, which the Brave Nature kind of counteracts, but it's still decent to see, and then 25 plus attack. This will definitely be used as well. I really wanted a good Darumaka too, but unfortunately this is probably the best I'll get. Jolly with 19 attack and 11 speed. We'll just take it for the time being. But before this gym, it is time for a major team rehaul. I'm actually going to be dropping off my Patrat, my Lillipup, my Blitzel, and my Pidove. We are getting all new Pokemon on this team. I'm going to be grabbing that one Scraggy, that one Darumaka, and that one Sandile that was super powerful, as well as also grabbing this extra Sandile that I caught just for an Intimidate Pokemon. It probably isn't going to have too much usage or actually be that effective in the fight itself. I mean, it's 20 plus attack and 19 speed. It's honestly decent, but it's really just there for Intimidate, and I'll show you why, because Intimidate can be the most powerful ability in Pokemon. It certainly is in VGC or official competitive Pokemon. Now, it's not as good as that. It's not the best ability in PokeMMO storyline runs, but it's quite good. But let's go ahead and quit yapping and finally take on the Bug Gym. Now, you can go ahead and equip whatever items you have, but the odds are you probably don't really have many equipable items at the moment. I have a scope lens that I got from one of the trainers in the Battle Tower so far. That building is technically called the Battle Company just to avoid any confusion, but it's close enough. You want to head inside this gym. This gym is really simple. You really can only go a few different directions. You're just unlocking the honey gates. After stepping on all of the little orange circles and unlocking everything, you'll eventually make your way over to the gym leader. Make sure to go ahead and pop a potion if you would like to heal up beforehand, and I'm going to go ahead and jump into this fight. I'm expecting this fight to be somewhat simple, but I'll see you on any specific strategies or moves I have to make. Now, he is going to have a Whirlipede, which will use poison type attacks trying to poison your Pokemon, which is why we checked to make sure we have antidotes. Quick reminder for this fight is that the Dwebble will most likely have Sturdy as well, so you might want to throw up something like a Rock Smash to chip it down and have a chance to lower its defense. If you brought that extra Intimidate Pokemon like I did, it's always a decent idea to switch over to it and get a free Intimidate off after a Pokemon dies. Now, if you also have Moxie Pokemon like I do, make sure to use them properly. And by use them properly, I usually mean don't lead with them. Keep them in the back like this. This is a perfect situation where now I can actually bring in my Moxie Sandile later into the fight with the opponent at low HP. I can bring this in, go for a pretty easy kill, or force a switch out like this, which is gonna happen sometimes. We still get free 20% damage because of that. That's a good example of the PokeMMO AI just being really smart. But now we can switch back to our Intimidate Pokemon and be a nuisance. Multiple Incinerates are really good in this fight as there are a ton of berries laying around as well. For example, that Citrus Berry. This one might be kind of obvious, but it's good to save your strongest Pokemon sometimes for later. This is a good example where this Leavanny would be able to Leaf Blade or strike down my Duat and do a ton of damage to this thing. But if I whittle it down with a Darumaka and a Sandile first, then I can switch in my Duat safely and go ahead and just KO this thing in one shot with a Slash without it receiving any damage in return. I'd much rather have a level 16 Darumaka be lost for a level 23 Leavanny than trade 1-for-1 with the Duat. And unfortunately, the final Pokemon for me here is a Swadloon. This might actually be a loss for me, unfortunately. I could have played this a lot better. This was definitely a skill gap. I probably shouldn't have led with my Simisear, but for you guys watching, Whirlipede, Swadloon, Leavanny, and Dwebble are the Pokemon to watch out for. They both are packing Razor Leaf, I believe. Leavanny and Swadloon, at least the Leavanny definitely is. Thankfully, due to one Super Potion of the 5 or so that we bought, we were still able to win this fight. GG's, 2,000 Pokeyen is ours, as well as our 3rd gym badge, and these first 4 gym badges are gonna be our hardest by far. Upon leaving the gym, you'll get a call on your transceiver, and they're basically like, hey, I want to go fight, so we're gonna go meet Bianca at Route 4 and go fight her. Make sure to heal up before this fight can be a little tricky. So go ahead and head back north, and I believe walking through this should trigger Bianca. We might have to fight Cheren as well right after. After that fight, we're just left to head north. Our Pokemon are a little damaged, but I think we're strong enough for the time being to continue forward, where we will run into Cheren again and do back-to-back rival fights. I'd personally recommend healing before this one, but if you think you're strong enough and you think you're prepped, you can always attempt it. The worst thing that's going to happen is you waste a little bit of time. All right, and after back-to-back rival fights, you should be free to finally continue forward. After a phone call and some more dialogue, of course. Before you take on this route, it might be a good time to go ahead and plop around your XP share and get some benefits out of that if you're interested. Especially if you picked up that Darumaka, Scraggy, or Sandile. Getting some of those evolved is a massive power spike. But from here, you really just want to fight whatever trainers you want to and pick up whatever Pokeballs you want to on this route before just heading north. If you really want to play it safe, you could actually head north up to the city first, fight minimal trainers, heal, mark your location at the PC, and then come back to this route to do some training. Whichever method you'll pick, you'll end up eventually getting up to Professor Juniper up in the tunnel north. And she'll give us 10 free Ultra Balls, which we will happily take. And now we should finally be able to continue on to the next city, Nimbasa City, where we will, of course, have to click through some more dialogue and into a forced Team Plasma Grunt fight. However, completing this fight will unlock us the daycare and as well as get the bicycle. And it should be a pretty simple fight at our levels. And after you scare them off, the old man will say thank you for saving him and give you both the bicycle and access to the daycare. I recommend keep binding the bicycle immediately to whichever slot you want. It's probably going to be your most used item from this point forward. And finally, we can fulfill the name properly of Unova Biker. And once again, just to remind you, make sure to go heal up. It'll also mark your location, your last spawn at this PC, because if you were to not do that and then go fight someone else or do something else and you were to faint, you would be sent all the way back to Castelia City, which would really suck without access to fly quite yet. Now, we can also take the time to quickly head up to this house just northwest of the PC, and if we head inside and talk to the NPC, we should get the Strength HM. That NPC being the blue-haired fella in the back over here. Now, our next order of business is the end fight over at the Ferris wheel, and this is honestly a very difficult one. I'm going to head back to the desert route and do some XP training before that. This is also a good point where if you have a Sweet Scent Pokemon, you can actually summon hordes of ×3 Pokemon down here and use AoE moves like Earthquake or Incinerate to clear them to gain a bit more XP. Now, I don't have a Sweet Scent Pokemon yet, so I'm just going to hit up the trainers. Also, keep in mind this next gym leader is an electric type trainer, so make sure to train up those Sandiles if you pick those up, or any other ground types you may have. If you run out of NPCs to fight down in the desert area, you can also head up to the northeast of Nimbasa City and just head over to this route. We don't really need to go over here for the storyline quite yet, but you can always go ahead and fight some trainers. Alright, but after a bit of grinding, I think it's time to finally head over to the end fight first. This is going to be a little bit of time. We're going to see him standing here. This is going to be a pretty tough one. There's a lot of dialogue, so I'm just going to spam through. He's going to take you on a little Ferris wheel ride, and then you will fight him. If you lose this fight, you will have to fight against him again and do the Ferris wheel ride all over again. After a lot of yapping, the fight is triggered, and keep a remembrance to watch out for his Zoroark. It's very, very, very likely this lead Pokemon is actually a Zorua or a Zoroark, and not actually the Sandile it's pretending to be. Until we see him lead off with a Dig fully powered by a Power Herb, allowing him to use it in one turn. So, unfortunately, he did actually lead Sandile here, successfully confusing me as the player. I'm going to try to save my Sandile for later here and actually switch over to my other one and get an Intimidate proc off against this thing. Now, we didn't see an Intimidate come out when this Sandile came out, so that does actually mean this one is Moxie as well. So keep an eye out for a Moxie Sandile when facing N here. Unfortunately, he gets a crit, which guarantees the Moxie proc. I think bringing in my other Sandile here is too risky. He'll probably just outspeed and kill me, so I'm going to play it safe, go over my Duat, and go for a water type attack. Thankfully, we hit our Razor Shell and do take out the Sandile. Next up is a Scraggy. Thankfully, Duat has learned a ton of moves that can be really, really helpful here. I could go for a Revenge or just go for an Aerial Ace. Revenge might one-shot, but Aerial Ace probably 2 shots anyway, so I'm just going to go for the Aerial Ace and be able to outspeed him here, which results in the same thing that if I were to Revenge. Next up is a Sigilyph, pretty powerful, weirdly typed Pokemon. It is Psychic Flying for those who get in this position and don't really know what to throw off against it. And there is the Zorua we were worried about. It does throw off Grass Knot, actually hitting our Duat for decent damage. Thankfully, it's not a very heavy Pokemon, which Grass Knot checks when going for damage. I'm going to Razor Shell again here and should be able to KO this thing. This can be a pretty difficult fight, which is why I'm kind of showing it to give you guys more information. Then in comes the Sigilyph, which does outspeed my Duat, unfortunately. Unfortunately, Sigilyph is taking down quite a fair bit of my Pokemon. Thankfully, my Simisear does have access to Bite, so I can 2-hit KO it here. Having your battle chat up during the storyline and during these fights is super, super important, as well as going over to your settings. And you want to actually head over to Interface and go to Show Battle Damage Percents and turn this to Always On. This is on PvP only by default, and I strongly recommend all players, if you haven't done it already, to go ahead and turn this on, put it on Always. So during the storylines, you can see when you're 2-shotting, when you're getting 3-shot or 2-shot, etc., etc. It can really matter in a difficult storyline. And extra information is always helpful as long as it's not too overwhelming. And then finally, out comes a Darumaka. So this guy is packing Sandile, Scraggy, Darumaka, the same Pokemon found on the route we were just farming on. So a pretty close fight for me, even though I did a ton of XP training before this. We were able to take him out, thankfully. But it's okay to take a few attempts here, and feel free to remember to use super potions and such. After that, I recommend healing up, and then we'll take on the next gym leader. This next gym leader is also the most important one. This is going to give us the 4th gym badge, giving us access to the GTL, which will allow you to trade and sell and use Pokemon that you didn't have to catch in the wild yourself. That's going to make it way easier to get more powerful Pokemon, as well as give you the ability to make more Pokémon if you would like. Here is the Electric Gym over to the east of Nimbasa. You do have to sort of follow along this path using the little roller carts. Unfortunately, this visual is really often glitched in PokeMMO. I don't know when. I think it happened when there was an update where they changed how the teleporters work. So just hop on this one right here. It'll take you over here in a little circle, and you have to go fight this trainer right here. There's usually only like one path or so you can actually go when you're inside this gym, so it should be pretty simple. Like I said, this is the electric type gym. However, you will run into a lot of Emolgas in this gym. So it is an electric type gym, but you'll see a lot of electric flying types that are going to be immune to these ground types, unfortunately. Thankfully, our elemental monkey that we focused on throughout the storyline so far is putting in serious work against these trainers and gaining a ton of XP along the way. I'm trying to divert as much XP off of my Duat as possible since it's already at max obedience level cap. You then want to go step on this platform, which will change the path which the roller coaster takes. You're going to want to jump on that same roller coaster. And this is pretty much the pattern you'll go through without this gym. It's not really as much of a puzzle as it is just hopping on the train, taking you where it goes, fighting a trainer, stepping on a path, and then either hopping back on that train or the next train in front of you. You can dodge trainers if you want to, but I'm going to go ahead and take the time to battle all of them like I've talked about so many times before. Just step on the next platform, just like before. That'll change the path on this one. You can go ahead and jump back on this whenever it comes around to you. And that roller coaster track should drop you off here. Same thing, press this button, hop on this when you can, and continue forward. And then hopping off of that roller coaster should bring you to the gym leader. I strongly recommend before you even fight her, go ahead and hit this switch first. And you should be able to take this to get back to her with ease in the future. So now if you lose, you don't have to go through the whole puzzle again. Or quote-unquote puzzle. I'm going to go ahead and just jump into this fight and see how it plays out. It should be decently difficult, but I'm not expecting anything crazy. I think the Amolda is going to be the toughest thing for me to take care of here. The leads can be changed depending on just, I think it's randomness. I don't think that AI actually sees your team and changes based on that. I think it is just random. But Joltik is the lead that I'm going against, which is actually pretty good for me. I'm going to go ahead and try to get an Incinerate off, but the Joltik is going to get a Volt Switch off and switch out before I can do that, but not killing me in the process, allowing me to get some chip damage off somewhere. And there is her ace, I believe, her level 27 Zebstrika, only taking 7% damage from my Incinerate. Hopefully I get a berry on it. Yeah, we get a nice Shuka berry out of the way. I will take that every day of the week. Let my Darumaka go down. And then I'm actually going to switch over to my Semi-Seer here to go for a Yawn and try to get this thing asleep. They stop me for 30% damage, and they do flinch me in the process, unfortunately preventing my Yawn. I'm going to try one more time, hopefully not double flinch. Thankfully, we do get past that. I can now go for a Super Potion here or Sacrifice Switch if I really want to. I have a fair about 2 potions. I'm going to go ahead and go for one. I'll have to buy more after this gym leader for sure. Hopefully they stay in here and let themselves go to sleep. Thankfully they do, because they might have seen the KO on my Semi-Seer. Now their best Pokemon is asleep, which should give me the placement to go ahead and see if I have any X items. I do have X accuracy, but it's not very relevant here. I'm probably just going to go ahead and continue going for Incinerates. Arguably could go for Rock Smashes, trying to lower the defense, but since Incinerate is special, it's not actually helping out my most powerful move here. So I'm going to Incinerate for 33% damage, and I should be able to 3-shot this thing and get advantage while it's asleep. Sleep can just be such a powerful status, especially when you have moves to be able to heal you, so it's really nice to be able to take advantage of that and NPC fights like this. There is a Stomp. We dodge the flinch and take out the most powerful Pokemon on the team. Next up is a level 24 Amolda. She might have 2 Amoldas if I recall correctly, but it could be a different Pokemon in the back. I'm going to go ahead and just go for an Incinerate. I should be a little faster. Thankfully, I am. Scope out for any berries. Incinerate doing absolute work in this early game, getting rid of so many berries. Yeah, and there is the second Amolda, like I talked about. So this trainer does have 2 Amoldas. I'm not going to worry about a Yawn here. This Pokemon is not bulky enough to need to worry about that. We're doing 46% with Incinerates. It's going to keep Volt Switching or Air Lacing me to death, and I should be able to now clean these 2 up with my Duat. Even though it's a water type, I should be able to do enough damage, outspeed these to kill these without taking any damage in return. Chipping down Pokemon like this, electric types, while our strongest Pokemon is a water type, chipping these down with a fire type, even though the fire type just hits them for neutral, is really relevant. It's all about playing to your win cons. I am kind of hoping my Razor Shell does enough damage here. They outspeed me, shockingly. I did not prepare for that, to be totally honest. 48% damage. With the Volt Switch, let's see what comes in. Joltik, we should be able to hit this for a lot. We shouldn't be able to one-shot this. Hit it for a lot of damage, and then outspeed it. And then KO it. So we just kind of prepped us for this one as well. I'm going to go ahead and Aerial Ace. I should outspeed. Yes, thankfully I do. If I had an X-Speed here, this would be honestly a really good spot in the fight to go ahead and go for that. The next Amolga is going to come in, which unfortunately is going to outspeed me, but... does it actually one-shot? Wow, that's really unfortunate. That one had enough damage. That might be a wash for me. That might be a wipe. Really, really close fight. I do have a revive that I could use, but I don't know if I need to. This fight is just such a tough one that is going to happen sometimes. I'm definitely going after this thing. I'm definitely slower than this Amolda, and he has U-turn into Volt Switch. That's just unfortunate. We take the loss on this one for sure. So my Semi-Seer is by far the strongest Pokemon against this trainer, and it's 20 XP away from a level up. So I'm going to go ahead and just go get that really quick. I'm going to pick up an extra potion or 2 as well, which should guarantee my ability to win this fight. I could get Hyper Potions, but I don't think I need those yet. I think just 3 Super Potions for the Semi-Seer should guarantee the win. But thankfully, if you lost like me, you can head right over to this roller coaster and it will take you right back to the gym leader. Just kidding, I guess. It didn't work like that for me, unfortunately. Maybe you have to defeat her first for that to actually be remembered and kick into place. That kind of sucks, but now we got to go the whole way around. But after a few roller coaster rides, we are so back. I'm going to lead with my Intimidate Pokemon here, which I think was actually dead last time I fought this fight, so hopefully that should help me out a little bit better here. Well, I went into Simisear after the Intimidate and got crit flinched on the first stomp. That's a really bad bit of RNG that might cost me the fight, but we'll have to see. The second stomp only did 16% versus the first doing 40% through the crit. That is pretty fucking criminal. I might need to go for the Super Potion here. I could honestly just go for the Incinerate, getting rid of the Berry here as well, though. If it crit me there, another flinch. Okay, really, really bad RNG so far in this fight. One sleep turn is guaranteed. I'm going to go for the Incinerate here, get rid of the Shuka Berry, and then try to get a potion up. Okay, after a few more flinches, Zebstrika goes down. I'm at decent HP still here, and the Emolga should not be able to KO me with any sort of Volt Switch. I don't remember if I'm faster or not. I'm just going to go for the Incinerate, doing 47%, and I'm more likely to go for the Super Potions here to sustain my HP. Yeah, Volt Switch doing 33%. In comes the next Emolga. I'm going to go ahead and just Super Potion on this turn as it tries to go for a Volt Switch again. Volt Switching most likely back and forth between each other Emolgas. This can be a really deadly and super annoying combo if you aren't prepared for it. It also makes them impossible to yawn, which is even more frustrating. A Volt Switch once again, doing a fair bit of damage. This next Volt Switch shouldn't KO me unless it crits. I think I'm just going to go ahead and go for the Incinerate here, and then go for a potion afterwards. And then we should be safe to KO them from this point forward. I actually could just probably go ahead and just cast, or go ahead and go for Incinerates from here on. I'm doing 50%. They're both in lethal range, but in comes Joltik, which I don't know if I one-shot, but I think I might be. I'm a little scared because my Simisear is my only mon that actually outspeeds these Emolgas. They're very fast. My Duat being 60 base stat speed is really hurting me here. Simisear being 101 has been so nice. I think it's worth to be really patient here and just go for the Super Potion. This should guarantee the victory versus just trying to attack and kill this thing might open me up for a chance to lose. The Incinerate did one shot, so looking back, it wouldn't have mattered, but it's important to play safe in these situations. And with this last Incinerate, that is a pretty tough fight taken care of, and the most important fight to get done in your first region, the 4th gym badge. If this is not your first region, you're chilling, you shouldn't have to worry about this, but if this is your first region, it's a really big deal. Unlocking the GTL, unlocking the ability to trade, and an MMO is crucial. And your max obedience level should get raised up to 35. And you can have Volt Switch TM, which is actually a useful one. Next up is Driftveil City, which is a ground-type gym. This will finally give Duat a chance to shine. So let's take this roller coaster back to the PC, go heal up, and prepare for an adventure. And then if you head to the northwest of Nimbasa and try to leave the city, Bianca will stop you and take you to look at the musical theater. And you'll have to yap through a little bit of dialogue between her and her father, but I do believe it is just dialogue and there's no fight here if I'm not mistaken. You do have to do this before you leave the city, unfortunately. But it's also, honestly, one of the cuter storyline points in all of Pokemon, so we take those. And it introduces us to the musical theater in Unova, which is unfortunately not implemented in PokeMMO. Maybe one day. A little more dialogue as you leave the location as Elisa comes over and says, "Hey Bianca, don't worry, you can do whatever you want in the world." It's kind of sweet and wholesome, honestly, but I'm a little sick of dialogue at this point in Unova, so it's hard to appreciate it. Is this what watching my Twitch streams feel like? Monday through Thursday at 12 p.m. ET over on Twitch and YouTube? Huh. Kind of weird. And now we can finally head over to the west and leave Nimbasa City. We'll have to fight through this route, fighting a bunch of trainers and also meeting Alder over here, but we'll also have to fight Cheren, as you see right now, a quick little rival fight. Cheren has pretty good type coverage at this point with a Panpour packing a Scald, which is pretty powerful at this point, and a Servine. I'm going to go ahead and take care of the Panpour with my Duat and then head over to my Simisear for the Servine. If you picked up an Elemental Monkey at this point, you should be okay. Unfortunately, we just got our accuracy dropped twice by Leaf Tornadoes. So I'm going to take this time to go ahead and just switch over to my Darumaka. I'm not going to risk missing this thing with 2 accuracy drops. Switching out is going to reset that and make it easier to take on this fight. The Servine does pack a grass gem for its first leaf tornado, which can do insane damage. So keep that in mind. You're definitely not going to be able to tank it with any sort of any sort of water type Pokemon like your Duat. So go ahead and make sure to either incinerate it first or just let another Pokemon die to it. I'm also reaching the point where my Incinerate on my Darumaka, it's really important to talk about, my Incinerate is doing less damage than me just clicking Strength because Darumaka's base stats are so leaned into its physical attack. 90 physical attack, 15 special. Even though this move is super effective, and its stab, Strength, which is not super effective, and non-stab is out-damaging it simply because it's a physical type attack. It's really important to check your Pokemon base stats to make sure you are utilizing them properly. But my Fire Monkey continues to put in insane work and is going to send Cheren to the Shadow Realm. Then Lisa will come over and come talk to you, and you yap a little bit more with the guy who has the coolest haircut in all of Pokemon. And then Cheren fully heals us before we absolutely obliterate 2 young trainers for Alder's personal enjoyment, I guess. He said he wanted to see us battle for some reason. So after beating up some preschoolers, our dialogue continues. And from this point forward, it's time to just fight every single trainer on this route, which there are a ton of before we make some more progress. Or you could ignore them for now and head over to where Cheren and Elisa are at. And she's going to call her local connections and lower the drawbridge for us. And a pretty damn gorgeous visual, wouldn't you say? And if you head across the bridge all the way west, you'll make yourself over to Driftveil City and meet the next gym leader in Clay. And he's getting sick of Team Plasma around these parts, so he says you need to rile some up before you can challenge his gym. And before I do anything in this town, I'm going to go heal up, head back to the previous route, and fight all the trainers. Or, I guess at this point, since we have our 4th gym badge, we don't actually have to do that. If you don't mind using some Pokeyen, you could actually go buy something called XP candies. Not rare candies on the GTL, but XP candies. They're not cheap by any means. Larges are probably the best bang for your buck at this point in the game, but it's going to save you a ton of time. Being able to buy a large XP candy for around 5,000 Pokeyen and giving your Pokemon 10,000 XP, that would level your Simisear up at level 29. That's 2,000 for that. Probably gets like level 32 or something like that, 33 or so, off of just 1 XP candy. You could also just go ahead and buy some powerful Pokemon off the GTL, which I will absolutely be doing. So for a frame of reference, what I usually do when I play through storylines on a new account is I head over to my advanced search, I go over to the attack IV, I do 20 plus, same with speed, and then I do adamant, naughty, or lonely, whichever is the cheapest. And then I look for a good Magikarp or a Gyarados. If you can go for a higher level one, it's better, so going for Gyarados is nicer. So here, for example, I see an adamant Gyarados, level 20, that is 25 plus IV in attack and 24 speed. This is pretty good, but it's a little lower level than I would like at the moment. I'm going to see if I can find something that is level 30, but if it gets too expensive, it's not going to be worth it. I can also check for lonely nature. You don't need a perfect Gyarados for the storylines. You just need one with plus attack nature that isn't brave, because then you end up costing yourself too much speed. You can go check Magikarps as well. We see some high level Magikarps, even though I can't quite use this one yet, unfortunately. 1,500 Pokemon is extremely cheap. You can find Magikarps that are very high level like this. 35k. Let's check. Lonely. 5k. This might be perfect. Level 38. It's a little higher than what we can use, unfortunately, so we wouldn't be able to use it at Clay. Is that really worth it? But this one's level 33k, or so yeah, level 33 for 10k. That's going to be perfect in my personal opinion. So I'm going to go ahead and buy this Magikarp, I believe, for 10,000 Pokeyen. I'm going to be able to use it in this gym and then use it for the rest of the storyline. In my opinion, Gyarados is the most powerful storyline Pokemon in PokeMMO. It just gets so many powerful things. It's a really, really good type and can just be ridiculous. Now, this one is Intimidate, usually, not, at least once it evolves, it'll be Intimidate, not Moxie. Moxie is better in the storylines, but it's also significantly more expensive. If you want more details on what are the best storyline Pokemon in PokeMMO, I have plenty of videos and guides on this topic. If you Google what is the best Pokemon to beat PokeMMO, I have many videos on the subject. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of my
Intimidate Sandile over here in the back. I was really just using it for Intimidate, and since this Magikarp is going to get Intimidate on evolution, I can go ahead and do that. I can go ahead and claim this Magikarp to my party, and then go ahead and use a rare candy that I got for free earlier by picking up the Pokeballs at the storyline route, and that will go ahead and trigger one level up and allow it to evolve into a Gyarados. If you ever have a Pokemon that is higher level than its evolution level, for example, Magikarp is supposed to evolve at level 20. If I have one that's level 33, if I just level it up once, it's going to allow it to have that evolution once again. Now, in a very similar vein to Darumaka, Gyarados has very specific stats. You do not want to put Surf on Gyarados, for example. That is a classic beginner mistake. You want physical attacks on your Gyarados. So Water Pulse, for example, is a special water type attack. You can tell because up on the top right, next to the name and then next to the water typing, it says special. Unlike something like Flail, which says physical and has the little red banner next to it. Now, this is Bite, which is a physical attack. So I'm going to go ahead and put Bite over Tackle. Eventually, the typical perfect storyline moveset for Gyarados is a mixture of Dragon Dance, Waterfall, Crunch, and then some other slotted move, maybe Ice Fang or whatever you can get for cheap. You don't want to spend too much Poke-Yen on a storyline Pokemon. You do want to save it for the post-game. Now, my Gyarados moveset isn't great right now. I can go ahead and teach it Strength, though, which will give it a nice 80 base power physical attack to utilize. But that is one of the benefits of buying it at a higher level. I did actually miss out on it learning I believe Waterfall and Crunch naturally. It will still get Dragon Dance level 36, which is really important. I could use Heart Scales to relearn these, but it's a bit expensive at this point in the game. I'm going to try to use it as is for now, but I might go ahead and spend the extra Poke-Yen in the future if it continues to be a burden. This is a very small tip, but if you want to in the storyline, having an Intimidate Pokemon in the lead of your party does actually act as a soft repel when going through grass tiles, and it will lower the amount of enemies you see while walking through grass.
And to deal with Team Plasma in the way that Clay asked us, we need to head down south over to the cold storage, keep following me, and heading over to this building in the bottom left. Eventually, when we get to this point, Cheren will trigger and stop us. After that, we need to go ahead and head inside of the building itself. There's a few small ice puzzles in here, as well as a ton of trainers to fight through. This guy actually won't battle you for whatever reason, so you want to go ahead and just ignore him, come up here, grab this Pokeball first things first, but then head back down here to start the puzzles. This first one's pretty easy. You can pretty much head straight at any position you could, and then just head to the right. At this point, we're at a crossroads. If you haven't bought any Pokemon off the GTL or used any of that advantage, I'd recommend going ahead and fighting this trainer. If you have, like I did, I'm going to go ahead and stop battling all the trainers possible right now and just start continuing on with the storyline. Gyarados is going to be so powerful, it'll make it so much easier to do so. I also went ahead and bought a Silk Scarf off camera for just 2,000 Poke-Yen, which is going to increase the strength of his strength attack by 20% damage. Other items that do this include things like the Magnet for electric type attacks, the Mystic Water for water type attacks. These are really cheap reusable items in PokeMMO. In 2025, leftovers are actually super cheap. These used to be 50 to 60k a piece, but now they're down to below 20k, 17k a piece. So if you're at this point, you might want to pick yourself up a leftovers as well. We'll probably pick one up before the Elite Four later. I tell people all the time to be a little careful about spending too much Poke-Yen on completing the storyline. However, things like leftovers and Silk Scarves and Mystic Waters, this is what you're saving your money for. This is endgame stuff. This is stuff that you'll use after you defeat the storylines as well, so you're kind of getting a double usage out of them. I'd recommend to almost never feel bad about buying permanent items in PokeMMO. You can usually resell them as well if you really regret it. At a small loss, but still you can get your Poke-Yen mostly back. But let's continue on. You want to take one step forward up here, not go too forward to fight this guy, and go east across the ice. Then you basically just loop around by going up, left, and then down. That will take you over here where you can actually dodge this trainer by heading on the lower side of this staircase. Just run into this crate as much as you want to. Head around here, then head down this staircase. Head over here, and then I got hit by this guy. That's okay. You probably could dodge him by walking around him or being more careful, but that's a skill gap. But to give you an idea of why I'm going to be skipping more trainers now, here is my Gyarados absolutely blasting through these Pokemon. I went ahead and went for a strength against this Vanilla, just a neutral damage strength. I'm not hitting these Pokemon for super effective moves. I am just abusing the raw power of Gyarados. This thing is boasting that 125 base attack with really decent bulk as well. 100 special defense, 80-ish defense, and 95 HP on top of the 81 speed. 80 speed is all you need is a tagline you'll hear me say a lot when playing the storylines. You then want to head north through this little patch of ice, and I believe you can walk by this trainer. If you are running, it will auto-trigger a trainer to look at you. If you are walking, you can walk by turning trainers just like that. But you want to head down here into this shipping container. This is going to be the final fight of this sort of little frozen area. Cheren will accompany you inside, and there's a bunch of Team Plasma members here. It's just a few fights back to back, which should be no problem for my Gyarados. After defeating the final Team Plasma member on the right, Clay and his crew will storm in. And now it's just all-out gang violence. Thankfully, our team is victorious, and we can head on safely. Now we can talk to Cheren a bit more, pick up this Pokeball, and go challenge Clay whenever we're ready. This Pokeball will give you a Never Melt Ice, which is one of those free 20% boost items we were just talking about. Now you can loop around this top side whenever you're ready to leave, so you don't have to go back and do the entire puzzle backwards or whatever. You can go ahead and loop around, come over here, loop around this little ice puzzle like that pretty simply, and then just head out the front door, bike back up to the PC, heal up, and go ahead and get ready to fight Clay. And if you head over to Clay's gym to the northeast, you'll also run into more dialogue. Now, Clay's gym consists of these little elevator type puzzles. You can also still talk to this guy and go ahead and get that free fresh water we've talked about previously. It's not as impactful now since it is 30 HP compared to like 60 HP for a super potion or 120 for a hyper potion. But hey man, it's a free heal. Using them in between battles can be nice sometimes. So we're going to take the first elevator down, and then head to the right and fight this trainer. A lot of these trainers are going to be unavoidable, so we are going to have to go through a ton of fights here. Then after that fight, you want to come click this big green arrow and head down. Then head north, but then make your way around this outer edge instead of hitting upwards. You want to come around like this. You can walk on these little support beams, which is easy to forget. Then fight this trainer, and we'll hit this next green arrow in a sec. Alright, and after that fight, come click this big green arrow like we talked about, and then head down here, head upwards a little bit, and hit this little red arrow to go back upwards. And then we're trying to head over to this little platform here. So we need to walk the outside railing, come fight her, and then head over here to this green arrow and press it. After defeating her and clicking the button, it will take you all the way down to Clay at the very bottom of the shaft. Once you're down here, make sure to go ahead and heal up your Pokemon. I used a Super Potion and a Normal Potion on my Gyarados, and you should be ready to just go ahead and jump into this fight, and I'll see you guys after. It should be pretty simple by now, especially if you picked up a powerful Pokemon off the GTL like I recommend. We see a Golett lead here, hilariously kind of countering my strength strategy where I've just been spamming the same move. We can go ahead and bite this though for super effective damage. And do we one-shot it? Yes, we do. Of course we do. We're using Gyarados. Excadrill is next. This Pokemon is extremely powerful. I'm going to go ahead and hit a Water Pulse against it, but I might even end up strengthening after. We get really lucky and dodge a Rock Slide there. We're actually going to two-shot this thing with Water Pulse, so I'm just going to stick with that strat. Rock Slide returns me for 59% damage. So if you hit that first one, it actually would have been a much more difficult fight. I probably would have had to switch out, switch back in at some point, get an Intimidate proc, and that Intimidate proc would take it from a 2-hit KO to a 3-hit KO, which really matters in this situation. Next up is Palpitoad, which we can just strength, of course. And then finally, the last Pokemon is Krokorok, which does get an Intimidate off, so I'm going to go ahead and switch out here really quickly just to sacrifice switch and sort of reset that, be able to switch my Gyarados back in, get an Intimidate off myself, and then go for an attack. Now, I also get information that he is packing Thunderfang here because of that, so I probably won't bring my Gyarados back in here for a quick sec. That is the one thing, if you're using Gyarados in the PokeMMO storyline, you have to keep in mind. Since this is the last Monarch, I'm going to switch back in and get the Intimidate proc, then sacrifice switch again, but watch out for electric type attacks. Gyarados is 4 times weak to electric, obviously, but it's an important thing to always think about. Always remember what Pokemon could be packing an electric stab move, an electric coverage move. Those are the things that kill your Gyarados run. So I'm gonna go ahead and just basically switch him in, get an Intimidate proc, and sacrifice switch out. The reason why this is so safe right now is because it's literally his last Pokemon is Krokorok. He can't switch out to negate or reset these Intimidates. So I'm gonna go ahead and click Strength here, and we one-shot with him with Strength. Anyways, there we go. That is Clay defeated, badge number 5, which was so much easier than every badge prior so far. Then once you're done, you can go ahead and step on the portal to get out of here. Go heal up at the PC and prepare for the next route. I'm keeping the XP share on my Sandile for the time being, as I know that Crocodile can be one of the most powerful Pokemon for the Elite Four. So I'm already starting a little bit of cheeky Elite Four prep early on. You then want to head north and then west over here to this next route. You will be stopped by Bianca, and I believe she fights us here. This is where we will actually get access to the Fly HM. I believe we have to defeat her first, but after we defeat her, we'll unlock Fly, which will be fantastic for travel. All right, and here is the most powerful move that Gyarados can learn in Dragon Dance. I've been excited for this one. I'm going to go ahead and teach it over Flail. This is going to allow me to set up and essentially defeat any fights that I previously couldn't. For example, I only did 90% damage, only 90% to this Pansage that I was fighting against with Bianca. I'm going to go ahead and just set up one Dragon Dance preemptively in this fight. It's going to boost my speed by 1, boost my attack by 1, and that should be just enough to allow me to one-shot everything. Musharn is going to hit me for 14% damage in return. Not worried about that by any means. And now I should be able to one-shot everything. Just kidding. 3% is what Musharna lives as. Okay. That's a pretty tanky Pokemon, though. That should be the exception. Everything else should be KO'd. So let's go ahead and test this strategy riskily against this Herdier. He probably has... Oh, I have to... Ooh, that's actually tough. Well, he lowered my attack, so now I don't have the Dragon Dance boost. I'm a little worried about this guy having Retaliate, so I actually am going to sacrifice Switch here. And he did have that Retaliate, which would have done insane damage. It would have been 140 normal attack base power, so glad we got out of there for that. And with Bianca defeated in a little more dialogue, there we go. We do get access to HM Fly. And since we have that now, we're going to go heal up really quick before fully taking on this route and just pick up a random fly Pokemon to put in the back of our party so we have access to it at all times. Pretty simple route. You want to just follow along through it like you should be able to. There shouldn't be any other alternative paths you could take since we don't have access to Surf quite yet. Now, I did go ahead and catch a Fungus here since I believe this is actually the only Pokemon in Unova that can learn Sweet Scent naturally via a level up. If I'm not mistaken, yeah, it gets Sweet Scent at level 24, which is one of the most important moves in all of Pokemon. So I'm going to keep that in my back pocket for the time being and see if we can utilize that once we get to the Elite Four or other areas of the game to do some XP training or even EV training. Once you loop around to the 3 wooden bridges, you should make your way up here, fight this trainer as well. You can pick up these 2 Pokeballs if you want. This one's pretty easy to grab, so I'll go ahead and get a free Super Potion by interacting with that, and then probably just continue on with the storyline. We're getting this thing done as quick as possible now that we have these powerful Gyarados Pokemon. You're going to get tricked by a Fungus like an absolute nerd and go ahead and just run from the fight, or can't escape because it's too powerful, because look at him. He's a little 2-foot mushroom, I guess. Get out of that fight, go ahead and make sure we time our escape properly to avoid this trainer that is looping around this little pond. And if you do that, you should be able to dodge this little hiker as well and just continue all north. I think we get stopped here for a fight or something is going to happen. Yeah, Clay is going to be like, hey, let me come help you clear this random spider web. It's a really extra strong spider web. It's a Galvantula one. Here you go. My Croc can take it out. Even though I have a Croc and he can't do that, his Croc is special. There we go. Spider web is taken care of. And it gives you the TM Bulldoze. And now it is Chargestone Cave time. I really recommend being healed up by the time you reach this point and maybe even picking up a few extra potions. This cave can be a little troublesome at times. There's a fair amount of fights. And you might get that picture when you head inside and you immediately see N up here menacingly staring off over to a rock. You get kidnapped by some ninjas and we have to have some conversation. And we'll wander off like a little freak and we have to continue on throughout the cave. Now, I'm going to go ahead and pop some repels for this section to make it a bit easier to narrate. You want to go ahead and head up here. And once you reach this point, Bianca and the Professor Juniper will pop out and basically just say, hey, you can push these rocks towards these stones. These magnetic rocks, you can push them slightly and they will be kind of teleported, or this rock will help pull them out of the way. This is how you're going to build all of your paths within this cave. And you get a free lucky small egg here, which isn't amazingly useful at this point in the storyline, but we might use it later on at the Elite Four. But if we go ahead and push this thing just like this, we can carry on. We then want to take our time, loop around this rock, head over to the west side, and then push it over to the east. Then head forward. I'm going to go ahead and grab this Pokeball because it's free to, why not? And then keep heading up here to this northern path. There's a trainer over here that we want to avoid if possible. He's going to be running back and forth around here. If you stay to the top side, let him run by, and then head south down here. You can push this crystal to the left, and then this crystal down south, and then head through this little section. We then want to just keep following along the cave's path and head south once we reach over towards this section. We're going to get stopped for a bit of dialogue, but it's kind of irrelevant. But reach this point, go ahead and pop a repel if you need to, and head south down to this bridge where the ninja trio will stop you again. And then you come push this rock downward. We can then come down here and loop around this trainer so we don't have to fight her. Come down this staircase, and then loop around down, west, and then north, dodging these 2 trainers over to this area. And for now, we can dodge both of these little crystals. We don't have to worry about them at all, but we do have to fight a big gauntlet of trainers coming up. So keep that in mind. You can go grab this Pokeball over here. Why not? It's a free timer ball. Have your potions on hand. I kind of wish I actually stocked up more potions before heading into this cave. That was a mistake on my end. So try not to make that mistake. I'm going to use whatever resources I can here. And probably just head into the fight. So we're going to start. It's going to be a lot of Team Plasma runs. So the fights should be mostly, hopefully, easy. Pretty simple path here. You just head north whenever you can to fight more trainers. All right, but once you get to this point, you do have to do a little bit of rock pushing, but it is quite simple. You just push like that, this one to the west, and then push this one to the north. Now, my Gyarados is extremely low on strength PP, so I'm going to go ahead and check my bag. It's decently likely. Yes, along the storyline, you just pick up random little items like this. I do have an ether to actually restore my PP. I'm deciding, I think I'm going to go ahead and just use that. Restores by 15, so I could actually use one more. So I'm going to go ahead and tough it out for one more fight, but it's important to go check your bag. Sometimes you just accidentally have stuff like that. You could also go buy some Lepa berries off of the GTL, for example. Go ahead and fight both these trainers over here, and then head up the upward staircase. And then I believe the exit of the cave should just be right over here to the east, but we do have to do a pretty big end fight next. So if you aren't ready for a rival fight, get ready for it now, okay? This is your warning. This is your chance to do so. I think I'm going to go ahead and just jump into it and try my best. See if we can win this, but if not, you know what? It's not the end of the world. We'll figure it out. Then, as per usual, keep an eye out for that lead Pokemon actually being a Zoroark instead of the Pokemon it displays to be. I'm not going to lie, I got burned kind of hard on this fight with trying to play around a Joltik when I had a Gyarados lead, when I probably should have just stayed in and gone for damage. Alright, and thankfully, due to the power of Dragon Dance Gyarados, this fight is going to be taken care of. I should be able to outspeed and OKO the Joltik. There we go. That is it taken care of. No resetting for me today. And I really hope your fight went just as smooth. That is a decently tough one. Now, we finally should be safe to leave the cave with just our few Pokemon left in shambles. I'm going to go heal up immediately at the PC over in Mistralton City. This is also the point where you unlock all the berry patches. So if you're playing through a Unova as an alt account to just unlock all the berry patches, congratulations. You've pretty much completed your journey. But if you want to fully complete your alt account, we have 5 gym badges, which means we need 3 more and an Elite 4 done. And if you try to head north anywhere of the PC, you will get stopped for a bit of classic dialogue. And here we meet Skyla, the gym leader of this town. Now, she mentions the top of Celestial Tower, which, wink wink, we probably need to head there. So heal up, get on your bike, and let's get moving. You want to loop around the way I did just there, and I think it's usually faster to hop on these little wooden areas. You could just bike directly through or go through the grass, but you have to fight a lot more trainers that way. Versus the wooden path gives you a few trainers that you kind of have to fight, but it's less overall. Now, this guy is hilariously a triple fight, which is kind of fun. Shouldn't be a problem at all for us, but just something interesting to note. Now, I went ahead and personally just went back to the PC to heal up right before this. We can go ahead and continue forward. You also could have flown back. If you brought a fly Pokemon and taught it fly, you could actually go ahead and access the map or just keybinding the fly itself over to the hotkey, which I'm going to go ahead and do now on your hotkey slot 2 or wherever you'd like to be. I'm going to go ahead and travel through this little grass. You can actually, I believe, dodge these trainers if you maneuver around them carefully enough. If you kind of head outward like this, same thing with this one. Head a little more outward, and then bam, boom, she can't even see you. You make your way over to Celestial Tower. Now, this is actually the earliest spot in the game which you can catch a teleport Pokemon, being Bahium, but at this point, it's a little late for that. That's usually something I recommend in other regions during storylines. Teleport can be a really powerful early game move to be able to get you back to the PC prior to having access to Fly, but in Unova, you get teleport after Fly, so not really anything to worry about. You could buy a teleport Pokemon off the GTL, which you will use at post-game for EV training, XP training, shiny hunting. Teleport is a very commonly used move in PokeMMO, but I wouldn't worry about it for the storyline quite yet. So you want to head inside this tower, walk over here, fight the trainers you have to, pick up the Pokeballs that you want to, but you don't really have to pick up most of them. I'm going to navigate around here in a way that has me fighting the least amount of trainers possible and just making storyline progress. All right, then on the next floor, it's the same thing. This guy is a turning trainer, so you might want to walk to try to avoid him if you're doing the same thing as me. Wait for him to turn away like that. Hopefully don't bonk the wall a million times, and then kind of follow me and head down here. If we have to fight this trainer, that's okay. Now, this NPC right here, this nurse you can actually barely see outside of the battle, if you fight her, she will fully heal you, I believe, after winning the fight. So if you need to heal for some reason, she is right there. Now, she is an optional fight, so whenever you're ready, you can go ahead and head up the staircase and head on to the next level. where it's the same pretty simple shtick over again, just trying to dodge whatever trainers you can and fight the ones you need to. I'm going to head over here. This guy is a turning trainer, so we should be able to walk past him with the proper technique. There we go. Same with her. She is also a turning trainer, but that's called skill jab. Now, did I expect this Gothorita to be packing a Thunderbolt and paralyze me and full paralyze me the next turn? No, I didn't, but thankfully I can hopefully take care of this fight, let my Gyarados go down, that's actually okay, head back down to that nurse downstairs and utilize her. Also, we could just utilize our Krokorok here with Moxie, getting a nice little boost, and for sure beating this trainer. Now, the nurse is packing 3 Pokemon, one of which being an Audino, so it can be a little bit of a tough fight. It's going to be a close one for me. But thankfully, with the help of a revive, we were able to take out the nurse and get a nice heal right here. This should heal my whole party to full, which is pretty huge in a tower like this. All right, back to where we were. We can go ahead and head up one of the final staircases, I believe. And it turns out it's just the final staircase. By the time we get up here, we do see Skyla over here. We can head over to her and see what's going on with the bell. Now, Skyla basically asked you to ring the big bell, so we're going to go ahead and ring the big bell like she asked. And now, whenever we're ready, we can go ahead and head over to her gym. And thankfully, if you brought Fly like I did, I believe you can actually fly off the top of this tower instead of having to traverse all the way down, because that would be a big pain in the butt. So now we can just heal up and take on Skyla's gym whenever you're ready. Or whenever I'm ready, because I need to go pick up some potions and healing items before I do this. Maybe even some extra items off the GTL. For example, now that I have Dragon Dance, I don't feel like I need Silkscarf nearly as much. So I'm going to go ahead and go pick up one of these 17k leftovers off of the GTL for a really cheap price. I can also go get something like a Charcoal for my Simisear, and these are things that are going to be usable well into the end game. But once you're adequately stocked up on potions, whatever items your Pokemon may need, let's go ahead and head over to the 6th gym and get shot through some cannons. You just want to head northwest in Mistralton City until you reach this hangar above the airplane. We can go ahead and head inside and jump into the very first catapult, which will place you a bit over here. And there's only one place we can go. We just have to go left and then jump back into the same exact catapult and take it to the right this time. And that'll give us a trainer fight over on this little ledge. Right here, you can actually see him a little bit. This guy is packing a level 32 Tranquil and another level 32 Tranquil. Then once you defeat him, you can head up this little ramp and head over this way and take the closest catapult heading west. It'll shoot you over between these 2 cones. We will have to fight this guy to pass over to the next catapult. And he has a level 32 Ducklet and a level 32 Sigilyph in the back. This leftovers is already coming in extremely handy, getting me a ton of HP throughout these fights to keep me healthy heading into the gym leader fight. Alright, after that fight, you want to take it slow because you actually want to come down to this south part of the catapult. Don't just directly follow this path. That's the easiest mistake to make here. You want to come down here and hop into the catapult facing this way, heading up north. You then want to head to the right using this catapult, fight this guy, then just head back left. Going to shoot us a bit further left after we fight this guy and take it over. So let's go ahead and take this rocket to the left, ending up right over here. Heading up north up this little staircase, we will have to fight this trainer here. I'm going to go ahead and use a super potion before this fight, making sure to use potions outside of battles to save those turns and save some HP. Going to go ahead and fight him, and then we're going to go over to this catapult here in a quick sec. We then are finally done fighting all of the trainers in the gym. We can go ahead and do something very fun, which is take all of these catapults around in, I believe, a counterclockwise motion. So you want to go ahead and go hop into that one, hop into this one, hop into this one. This one's going to shoot us into the wall like a bug, splat. And then we hop into this final one and we make ourselves up to the gym leader. Go ahead and use whatever ethers, lepa berries, like PP heals, HP heals. I'm going to go ahead and use a probably a fresh water since I have it here to get my Gyarados nice and healthy. And we'll probably go ahead and just jump into this fight. This is Skyla, the 6th gym fight within Unova. Let's see what Pokemon she has. Once again, the gym leader lead Pokemon is going to be different. There's a little bit of RNG there, but for me, it is a Swoobat. This could be either in the lead or in the back of your fight, so keep an eye out for that. I'm going to go ahead and try to set up a Dragon Dance against this thing. It's going to hit me with a really, really mediocre Heat Wave for very little damage. Getting a Dragon Dance off is going to allow me to raise my speed, raise my damage, and now go for a bite. I will outspeed this thing now, which will give me the chance to flinch this thing and probably have enough damage to one hit KO this thing. There we go. That is the Swoobat out of the way. Next up is a level 32 on Pheasant, which I will one-shot with a Strength after my Dragon Dance.
Then a level 31 Tranquil. Same thing, 1 strength after a Dragon Dance, gonna one-shot him out of the way, just showing the absolute insane pure power here of Gyarados and how much the storyline changes once you get access to 4 gym badges. Once you get access to a powerful Pokemon like this, it just opens up the entire game to your fingertips. We don't quite one-hit KO the Swan, however, it returns with a very weak 14% damage Ice Beam, and we're back to cooking them up. And then finally, the last Pokemon, a Sigilyph, which we can one-shot with a Bite, and that is winner, winner, chicken dinner. All the birds have been fried up. Just not even a close fight. An unbelievable sweep from Gyarados. You love to see it. That's 3,000 Poke-Yen in our pocket, which we honestly need. We've been spending a lot, getting to this point and getting more items and stuff like that. Here is the 6th gym badge, raising our max obedience level up to 43. Let's get an Acrobatics TM, which is one of the better ones from the gym leaders. Now, whenever you're ready, you can go ahead and jump over into this catapult, and this will take us back to the start of the gym. We can head out of here, and once we leave the gym, N is going to yap at us for a little bit. Now, after that, we want to go heal up over at the PC. If you're here for berry farming, congratulations, you did it. You unlocked berry farming on this account. You can now make some nice passive profit if you're making an alt account or even on a main account if you would like to make around 120,000 Poke-Yen a day profit by just making sure you log in and water your berries. Pick up a Skydrop TM over there if you would like to, but I'm going to go heal up. We're going to head back to the route we went to previously to get to Celestial Tower and go a bit more east. All right, whenever you're ready, go ahead and follow along me. We're going to head back to those big little wooden pillars we can travel across just like this, like we did before. Continue heading northeast-ish. We're going to head over here. We want to head over here to this house this time. We can continue eastward this way. There's going to be some trainers and things we haven't seen previously. We're going to get a call from our transceiver, our little phone in this game. And we're also going to have a rival fight coming up. So keep in mind, check your Pokemon's HP, especially the further you get up here. Check your Pokemon's stats, your PP. Go ahead and heal if you need to. I believe the rival fight should kick in. Not quite. Once we get to this, yeah, right here. See these people stopped. You can usually tell in the storyline if there's a few people stopped in a fight in the middle of a route where it's like there's no wild encounter here, there's no bushes, there's no grass to walk in. These guys are in the rival fight, which we're about to jump into right here. Cheren is going to come say, yo, what's up, let's fight for the 20th time, and let's see how this fight goes. Once again, keep in mind there is RNG involved in what the lead is going to be. He leads a Liepard for me, and I actually have an interesting decision to make here. It's very, very likely the Liepard goes for a fake out, so I think I'm just going to switch over to my Pidove, let it die, and then switch back the Gyarados in to get a second Intimidate for free, and there's that fake out. Fake out is one of the most abusable moves in the storyline. If you know a mon is most likely or probably going to use fake out, you can usually heal up on that turn or use an X attack if you want to, if it's like an Elite Four fight, or switch out like that. It's going to allow me to switch back in, get another Intimidate off, which is going to make Liepard do way less damage, which makes it way safer for me to go ahead and set up a Dragon Dance. That slash there did 9% damage, whereas it might have done like 20% or so after two Intimidates. Maybe even like 24%. So it's a pretty big difference. Now, after one Dragon Dance, I can go ahead and go for my Strength and one-hit KO it after the Quick Attack little chip from my little Pidove back there. Next up, in comes a Boulder at level 34, which can be kind of a threat here. We can't really hit this guy for too much damage, as you can see. He's actually going to take out my Gyarados there. That was a bit of lazy play for me. I knew he did too much damage. I knew he was tanking me too well, but that's okay. Mistakes happen. We still should be able to either win this fight with our other Pokemon or just have a revive in the back so we can get back our Gyarados. Our Gyarados is definitely our GOAT from this point forward. We know that he has a superior over here in the back. Yes, there it is. I might go ahead and let my Duat go down or just switch over to my Darumaka here. Yeah, looking for a revive here in this fight. It might be required. I think you should always have at least 3 revives on you during your storyline run, or if you're shiny hunting or something like that in the end game. I personally keep 50 revives on me at all times on my main account, just because I need to juggle revives for some sort of shiny encounter that goes wrong. But that's a little extreme for the storyline run. Just like three revives is solid. After reviving my Gyarados, taking out a Semipour and a Superior on a very well-balanced team, I'm going to go ahead and hit Unpheasant with a Strength and do most of its HP, but not actually totally KO it. I should be able to clean up this fight with my final 2 Pokemon. I'm going to go ahead and bring in my Krokorok. Maybe get off a nice... Do I have any sort of Rock Slide on this thing? Just Assurance is probably my best bet here, hilariously, but he's gonna one-shot me with Aerial Ace. This fight is actually that crit. I don't know if that crit mattered, but it's pretty close. I think Aerial Ace doing 60% base, 60 base, I think that crit mattered. That crit might cost me this fight. This is actually a really tough situation. Do I go ahead? I've already used one revive this fight. I'm level 29. I think what I would recommend players do here is hope to tank it, go for the incinerate, and just this should KO. I have a charcoal. I think that does. And if you lose this fight, just don't waste too many resources in one fight. You know, sometimes with a fight like this, like, it's better to just let it go. But thankfully, we do take him out. That crit was unfortunate, but thankfully he didn't double crit me twice in a row. If he double crit me, you know what? You got it, Cheren. You deserve that win. There we go. There is that fight taken care of. Some dialogue. Alder should pop out and say, yo, what's up? I'm going to go heal up as soon as possible after this fight before heading through this cave. He does give us HM Surf here, which is really nice. Big upgrade. All right, after healing up and forgetting to buy more repels, I'm going to go ahead and fight this first hiker on our way into Twist Mountain. But whenever you're ready, we can go ahead and head inside the cave. And when you head up here, we're going to trigger some more dialogue. Don't you worry. Let's just go ahead and do that. Talk to Cheren and Clay. Whenever you're done that dialogue, we can go ahead and head over to the east through this tunnel here. And this is where things get a bit tricky. Depending on whether or not it is winter in-game, your path is actually going to be different here. Thankfully, it's pretty quick. So if it's winter in-game, in your game right now, like it is for me, obviously you can tell because of the snow. It's pretty easy to tell whether or not it's winter in the game. You can follow along the path that I'm taking now, okay? You want to head north, then you want to head east, then you want to loop down here until you see this door, but head right past it, head over here to this door, and then keep heading forward. It's the only way you can go, and then head east, and then head south, and then head east, and that will take you, this will be the exit of Twist Mountain, which it looks like there will be some sort of rival fight or Team Plasma fight at the very end of the cave. So keep an eye out for that. Thankfully, there's actually no fight here. It's just a little bit of dialogue. I'm going to go ahead and head out of here, go mark my spot over at the PC, head back through the cave to show you guys the path you will need to take if it is not winter in-game, which is more likely. Now, if it is not winter in your game, here is the path you will have to take. And this is much more likely since it is only winter, one time every 3 or 4 months as opposed to every other season. So you want to start here at the initial starting area like we just started at previously. You want to then head down south, east, and then take this path. I'm going to go grab this Pokeball really quick. You don't have to. That's a full heal for free. But we're going to head into this door right here. Then we need to go all the way south. We do have to fight this trainer. After defeating him, we want to continue all the way east and then head north. There's going to be a trainer that walks around like this. You can go ahead and just pay close attention to make sure you dodge her. Go ahead and pop more repels if you need. Then head through that door there. Then head north along this bridge until you see the only door you can head inside right here. Make your way through these little mud piles, dodging this trainer so you don't have to fight him if you would so choose. I'm going to try to dodge him very carefully like this. Head south down this little staircase here and then head southwest into this door right here. Then loop around this pathway over here to the western door. There's a free Pokeball here if you would like to pick that up for a free ether. Head inside the door we just mentioned. Head west a little bit until you can then head north. Over here, west a little bit further. And so you can pick that free Pokeball if you'd like to, until you can head all the way north like this. Then head east. I'm just going to dodge the free Pokeballs here. Head all the way east. And when it's not winter, your screen will look a little bit different here, but you essentially want to head through a doorway that literally isn't on my screen. Hold on, let me get some footage of this. All right, shout out over to SYHR over on YouTube for having this little PokeMMO Unova storyline guide. I'm going to show you guys via his lens what this should look like for your camera angle. And he has some really nice, quick, succinct, voiceless storyline guides if you're more interested in something like that. It doesn't have all the tips that I mentioned, but it's less talking, and some people might prefer that, so his YouTube should be linked in the description. Let's follow along what he does. He's going to head out the door like we did, and he's going to head over to the door that we could not view on our snowy screen. You then want to head north, fight this trainer like he does, continue heading north, head northwest a little bit, but then don't head all the way over to the second staircase. Then you want to start heading south through the mud piles. You can dodge the karate NPC if you would so like, and then head all the way south to dodge the mining NPC. Head west and then head south out the next door that you see. Head south a little bit east past the candy machine, the vending machine, and then head north before you reach the little red staircase. Head north through a door. All right, and once you head north through that door, you just keep heading north and then east until you see Cheren and the Team Plasma member we reached in the winter version as well. And then you can just head east out that doorway and make your way out of Twist Mountain just like in the winter version, making your way over to Icirrus City. Once again, just don't make sure to give this video a like and maybe subscribe to SYH over on YouTube. A link should be in the video description.
Alright, then once we're in Icirrus City, we can actually go and get our second XP share in Unova, which is unique to the Unova region. You usually can't get 2 XP shares in most regions like this. You can also go grab this Pokeball, which is a rare candy if it's in the wintertime like this. But you want to head over to this house, which is just slightly northwest of the PC. Head over and talk to this guy, and we need to show him a Pokemon that has leveled up enough times. I believe somewhere between the range of 25 to 49 levels. I'm going to show him my Duat, which has gained a ton of levels, and he will give me an XP share. You could then keep this XP share and put it on other Pokemon. You could use them for EV training. I strongly recommend new players try to get 5 XP shares, which you can get for free while just doing the storyline. That's going to allow you to EV train and XP train Pokemon in the post game. You could also sell them for Pokemon if you really want to, but I don't recommend it. But from this point, we can actually just go heal up and immediately go take on the next gym, which is just northwest of the Poke Center right here. This is an Ice-type gym, which means Ice-type puzzles, so try to follow along closely. I know that I'm personally terrible at these, so I will try my best to try to take it slow. You want to first go ahead and hop on this, and then just head north. Head 1 step forward, get teleported over here. You then want to take 1 pace east. Head over here to the Karate Master. Go ahead and quickly fight him. This guy was packing 2 Cubchews and 1 Cryogonal. You then want to head north until you press this red button, and then head west. Once again, hitting this little loop and sliding over to this little blue circle tile where you will have to fight another trainer. Then after defeating her 1 high-level Cryogonal, you want to head east and take a little big ice jump over here, and then you're forced to fight this karate trainer as well. After defeating his 1 high-level Cubchew, you want to make sure you head east over to these rocks, and then head north up to this rock, and then head east over to this little thing, and then head north. We can actually follow Wacy here. He's doing the correct things. We can also then fight this karate trainer. You then want to head south on that exact tile you fought that trainer on. Don't head over to the west at all. It should be 1 pace to the east of the actual little spiky platform. So you want to head south here. You then want to head east over to the next little area. Go ahead and take the path all around, loop on this little wood platform down to this little blue circle, head up north to trigger this red square, which will rotate this little wood platform in a way where you can go ahead and head north, head west, head over to this little spiked area, head south, and take the loop around over here, and then just head west on the ice jump, making your way over to another trainer. There's a lot of trainers you have to fight here before the gym leader. Make sure to stock up on potions, and make sure to heal outside of fights where possible. Now, after this fight, my Gyarados is trying to learn Outrage. This is a good time to show you guys to not learn Outrage in PokeMMO. A lot of newer age Pokemon players or older Pokemon players might think Outrage is super good. In PokeMMO, Outrage is not. It's actually terrible. It is a 90 base power Dragon-type physical attack that locks you into the attack itself and then causes you to be confused afterwards. Outrage is good when it's 120 base power, maybe 100, but 90 is just way too low to be locked into a move like that, not being able to change your strategy. That is too much of a restriction in Pokemon. But back to the ice puzzle. You want to head west over to this little platform, head north into the little wooden thing that'll spin you around over to this guy. Then head east into the rocks and then north back onto this little guy. And then take the wooden platform, which will zing you around over to this blue square, where you will go ahead and head north, east, and then north up to this karate guy. Fight him. After defeating him, you want to hop on the red square. Go ahead and head over east over to this little spiky square. Then head down into the wooden segment. Loop over to this blue circle. Then head west into this rock, back down south into the spiky platform, and then head west over back into the wooden thing again, and then head north, and we are done with the ice puzzles for now. Make sure you heal all of your Pokemon and revive whatever Pokemon you need to, and just get everything prepped and ready for this fight. And whenever you're ready, we can go ahead and just jump into it and see what he is packing. For my personal fight, he leads with a Beartic that is level 40. Keep an eye out for that. And he has 5 very strong Pokemon to worry about. My goal is going to be trying to set up with Gyarados, getting a few Dragon Dances up, probably 2 Dragon Dances, depending on how much damage Beartic can do to me, and just try to sweep the entire team. However, Beartic hits me for a massive 87% damage with an Ice Steel Crash. This puts me in a really, really weird position. I can either go ahead and Strength and try to one-shot him. He did
crit me on that attack, I could go ahead and Hyper Potion here to heal my HP back up and hope he doesn't crit, putting me in a better position. I think that's the best thing I can do here, but this is going to be a really tough fight. This Beartic is extremely strong. He's then going to go for a superpower afterwards, assuming he could still KO, which is going to grant me the exact free turn that I was looking for. That's also going to lower his attack and lower his defense. This is why it's good in these NPC fights to go ahead and take the safe play usually and just go for that heal. Usually, it's not worth taking those risky moments because as the player, you can make the right plays, but as the NPC, they have more chances to mess up, to fuck up, to make mistakes like that. So now we are double Dragon Danced up. This whole fight should be taken care of. Honestly, since the Beartic is at this point and so weak, I'm going to go ahead and just Dragon Dance one more time because 3 should truly allow me to one-shot everything. Since the Beartic is so lowered statistically, this is probably the best chance I'll ever be given in this fight to go ahead and perfectly set up so I don't have to risk anything else for the rest of the fight. I think I even want to go ahead and just play it super safe, just Hyper Potion one time here before I start trying to kill Pokemon. All right, so now we are 3 times Dragon Danced with 75% of our HP. I'm going to go ahead and go for a Strength, which will definitely kill the Beartic. The only thing I'm scared of here are Focus Sash Pokemon and Sturdy Pokemon, as Gyarados should be obliterating everything. In comes a Vanillix next, which will set up Snow most likely, / Hail if you're more familiar with that. So now we have to keep an eye out on Ice Pokemon with Snow Rush, and this is actually going to tank my strength from my Gyarados, which is crazy. 70% damage. We will 2-hit KO this thing, thankfully, but that is a crazy thing to live through. I think due to the defensive buff of Hail, which is going to make it harder for my Gyarados to sweep this fight. Which is a good example of why stalling turns in NPC fights and in a fight like this might really matter. If you need to, stalling turns until the snow is done with, until the snow disappears, might be super relevant here. Now, Wall Rain comes in. This thing could be packing something crazy like Sheer Cold. I kind of want to go for a Bite, honestly, just to like test damage and go for a flinch here. I think Strength is more safe, though. We do 48% damage with our Strength. He's in with a Body Slam for 19%. Thankfully, we dodged the Paralyze. Now, I know that my Strength can't KO him next attack anyway, so I might as well go ahead and go for a Bite, which allows me to fish for a flinch chance, which we do thankfully hit. This does 2 things. It stalls an extra turn for Snow, it saves a PP on my Strength, and it just allows me to take out the Pokemon much easier. There we go. So there was Wall Rain taken out. If you can't 2-hit KO anyway, you might as well use a different move sometimes to fish for different chances, like Paralyzes or Flinches. Dugong then comes in. I'm going to go ahead and go for a Strength here, which does 58%. So we do 2-hit KO with our Strength against Dugong. A Frost Breath does 21% damage. We should be okay to return here again with another Strength. That's a crit as well, which is crazy. Snow has been up for 5 turns. It'll either go down here or... Wow, that's crazy. So the Vanillix actually does have a Icy Rock equipped on it, which is kind of crazy that they actually give those to the NPCs in this game. But that is PokeMMO for you. We take out the Dugong. And then the final Pokemon is a Cryogonal, which should get killed with 1 to 2 strengths. You may have already noticed by now, but I do have a few custom mods that basically reskin certain Pokemon, things like Cryogonal, so don't get too distracted. This is just a visual mod. Don't think too much of it. This is what's known as Jumpion, which is a classic meme in PokeMMO. If you want to learn more about it, you could Google Jumpion Explained Pokemon. I actually have a video talking about it. It's a classic meme that started back in like 2012, 2013 era PokeMMO, but I'm going to go ahead and take out the 7th gym leader now in Unova. We are cranking through. We're getting things done. We're almost there, fellas. And go ahead and just take the time to give yourself a pat on the back, man. PokeMMO storylines are not easy. It can be a lot. Things can get sticky, difficult. If you've made it this far, I think you've done great work. That will raise our max obedience level up to 46. We get a Frost Breath TM. And now it's time for the best part of the ice gym in Unova, getting to take the icy slide all the way back to the beginning of the gym, spinning about 3,000 revolutions per second. There we are. And now we can go heal up and head on over to Dragonspiral Tower. Not before some classic Unova yapping, of course. Followed up by the gym leader who comes out and wants to yap some as well. And the gym leader, using his icy spider senses, actually figures out that there's some shadow triads lurking around the corners that nobody else noticed. And now, after all the yapping, we can go heal up and head all the way north up to Dragonspiral Tower. So starting from the PC, you want to just head all the way north, past all the snow, if there's snow, past all the little grass, and head up to this little entrance here, where you will just stop for some yapping. He will give you an item called the Old Gateau, and then we'll head forward, having to make our way into Dragonspiral Tower itself. There's some really cool Pokemon in here, like Golett and Druddigon, if you would like to catch them. but I'm going to just head through up the first staircase over here to the northeast. So just follow along my path, making your way up here over to the northeast staircase. You'll hear a bit of weird whispers and rumbles and dialogue here for a quick sec. Just ignore it and keep going up the staircase. Cheren will then stop you as well. Just say some stuff, saying, hey, we're going to go get Team Plasma. This guy is Shiny Hunting Golett right here. You can actually do Time Slave Hordes with them. Good luck to him. And then follow along to the left. We're not going to go quite up on this high ground yet. We're going to follow over here, over to this Strength Boulder. We want to teach a Pokemon or make sure one of our Pokemon knows Strength, like my Gyarados, and then use Strength to go ahead and fill in this little gap right here. And if you have Strength here, that allows us to skip all this other nonsense. So we can just head up here and head to the next area, where we are given a really, really cool visual. You want to head up this staircase, head left, jump over this little platform, and then follow along. It's pretty simple to get past this. You want to head all the way south, and then all the way west. It's really that simple. All the way west, just like this. Head up here, and then loop up here. And then up the staircase we go, onto the next area. You can go get that Pokeball if you'd like to. It'll just take more time. You can pause here and go do that. Then head up here. And then all of our friends are trying to hold off Team Plasma so that we can go take on the main event and be the main character here for a split second. We have 2 or so Team Plasma members to fight. I believe there's actually 5 fights here in total, so make sure to be kind of prepared for that as best you can. Bring potions, bring PP heals, etc., etc. They do have Watch Hogs, which look to go for Super Fangs, which can be really obnoxious for the rest of the gauntlet. But you really just follow along the only path you can and fight every Plasma Grunt along the way. But once you defeat all of them, you'll reach over to these 2 staircases. You can go grab this Pokeball really quickly. You want it for a free Dragon Fang. We're then going to head up the north staircase and reach the Spiral of Madness, where you want to first head all the way east, walk across this little metal platform, and then continue heading all the way east, walk across this next metal platform, going inward still, and then go left a little bit, and then go inward on this metal platform, and then head all the way east, hop over that, head out. Now we're going outward across that metal platform, and then outward across that one, and then outward over here, and now we can take this staircase to the left, upward. Continuing forward, we'll get a little bit of an event triggered here, hearing some weird whispers off in the distance, saying things like burn, baby, burn. We continue forward, just heading straight, the only path we can take. Let's go grab a free Pokeball while we're here. Why not? A nice little free elixir. Then head west. This is really the only path we can take, so it's pretty easy to follow. Interrupt their little meeting. And then we have some more Team Plasma Grunts to fight. Alright, and after defeating all 4 Plasma Grunts, you want to make sure to heal up, just like this. We're going to continue on forward. Get the heals we need. I know personally, my Gyarados is also getting pretty low on PP, so I might go ahead and use an elixir here on one of like the strength move, for example. And now that we're nice and healed up, we'll go ahead and continue on forward, heading up this little staircase, and that should bring us to the N Reshiram fight, where you're met with an absolutely stunning classic visual from Pokemon Black and White. I'm just going to go ahead and let this play for a little bit. It's not every day in PokeMMO we get to see stuff like that, and it's good to appreciate little moments like this when you can. So we're going to go ahead and talk to N and see what he's yapping about today. Then Reshiram will teleport over into the wall, as he does, of course, and N will keep yapping. And it seems like we're going to have to go on a journey to go get Zekrom. He flies away with no fight required, thankfully. At least for now. These NPCs take us back downstairs automatically. We don't have to go all the way back through Dragonspiral Tower, which is super nice. And then as we're yapping, Alder shows up again to teach us about more legendary dragon types like Zekrom. Alright, after a ton of yapping, everybody leaves, and we need to head over to Relic Castle over by the Desert Resort. So now that we have Fly, we can just fly back over to Nimbasa City, thankfully, and make our way over there. This is one of those things in Pokemon that takes forever to beat as a kid. I know it was a pain in the butt for me, but if you follow the correct path, you can actually dig through the sand pretty quickly. So go ahead and go south of Nimbasa City, and then go down towards Route 4, where we caught all of these awesome, powerful Pokemon, like Darumaka, Sandile, etc. before. We're going to head west over here. I'm not going to repop any repels yet. We don't really need to pop repels quite yet. We're going to head over here, over towards this little pathway, head inside, and this will take us over through to Relic Castle. We want to stick over to the east wall. It's usually the easiest to dodge the most amount of trainers. You can actually loop around here and dodge him as well. We just don't really need to fight trainers anymore now that we have our powerful Gyarados. We can head over here to the east wall, loop around like this, and make our way over to the castle. Keep following along this outer edge, just heading around just like this. Once you reach this part, you can kind of head inwards over to the left, find these little Darmanitan statues, make your way over to the entrance of the castle itself. Cheren will stop you to just say hi for a sec, and you want to just head inside as soon as possible. Let's hurry, he says, after slowing us down a little bit. Now we are inside of Relic Castle. This is where I would go ahead and pop a repel. And we need to be really careful based on how we walk or run inside of this cave. You want to loop around here. If you want to dodge every single trainer, do what I'm doing, okay? Right now, I'm running, okay? This is running. If you press your B key, for me, that is X, you will then walk like this. There's biking, there's running, and there's walking. We're going to be walking through sections of this castle. So let's go ahead and walk. If you walk through this little sandy area, you can walk through it just fine. If you try to run, it will suck you down. Let's walk around him like so. And then once again, walk around the sand like so, over here, over to this staircase. We run into some Team Plasma nerds. He's going to yap at us. We do have to go fight this NPC over here. He is a must fight. All right, then if you take a fair bit of damage like me, you can go ahead and potion up if you need to. Using a hyper potion here is not ideal, but do what you got to do. You then want to purposefully get sucked down by this sand little pot, so go ahead and do that. Grab the free Pokeball, because why not? It's a hyper potion to replace the hyper potion that we just used. Perfect. And now we do need to go fight this Plasma Trainer as well, I believe. I wonder if you could actually walk around. I don't think so. He is a must fight. Don't be afraid to go ahead and set up a Dragon Dance in these small fights. If there's like 2 Pokemon or so, sometimes you save enough PP. Like if I go ahead and I don't Dragon Dance, I bet you this strength does like 77 to 80% damage. But if I set up one Dragon Dance, it allows me to one-shot him, which allows me to save PP and kind of just even save HP along the way. Sometimes, unless he Super Fangs you, that's really unfortunate. But my leftovers healing me along the way is super nice. Like I don't think I one-shot him normally there, but now after one Dragon Dance, you kind of learn these damage numbers, the more Plasma Grunts and the more people you fight alongside your storyline run. I do have 2 XP shares on my Pokemon as well. So throughout these fights, I'm gaining XP on my Duat and my Crocodile. So I'm getting less XP on my Gyarados because of this, but I'm already so close to the max obedience level cap on him. I don't mind that. Good example of I definitely don't one-shot this Scraggy without that Dragon Dance. I don't know if that crit mattered, but we're trying to save a little bit of HP or in PP as well in these gauntlets, with strength only having 15 PP. That is super relevant in a long storyline gauntlet. And then after defeating him, we need to walk. So if you need to just take a few steps back, make sure you are walking, and then walk across this little sand pit here. And then we can go ahead and run into this Team Plasma guy. Go ahead and pick up this Pokeball. We unfortunately get crit poisoned by a Garbodor, so we have some healing to do after this fight for sure. Make sure to take care of your Pokemon. I'm a big advocate of always keeping a handful of paralyze heals, antidotes, things like this in a run, because otherwise it would make this gauntlet way, way harder. I'm going to go ahead and hyper potion there as well. Go pick up this Pokeball. Make sure I'm walking so I can walk past that. If you run, you'll get sucked down. You miss out on a TM Fire Spin, which isn't anything too crazy. So if you don't want to, you don't have to worry about it, but then get sucked down here on purpose. And then we need to head over to the west. We're going to have to fight this Plasma Grunt and then fight another one over here. Walk across all these sand. We want to get sucked down by this little sand hole over here. You can also pick up this Pokeball if you would like to. Just make sure you are walking here. This Pokeball does have a free revive, so that is a really good one to honestly pick up. One of those ones that is definitely way more worth during this run. So you want to walk up here. You might have to walk around. Don't walk. If you walk directly into that little black pit, it will suck you down as well. So you want to walk around like this. Come take this force fight and then get sucked down this sand pit. And we have about 3 total Plasma Grunt fights left, counting this one. So there's a lot of fights in this cave. I'd use another Hyper Potion, but I got crit foul played, unfortunately. So just make sure to pack plenty of potions. I'm going to Dragon Dance for this fight for sure, since there's 3 Pokemon we're looking down. It slows down the fight and does cost me more time, but it's going to make it more likely that I get through things a lot cleaner. I probably can go ahead and go for a Strength here and one-shot this Trubbish, which I might not have been able to do prior. Go ahead and head down the sand pit like we talked about previously. We have 2 more Plasma Grunts we have to fight back to back, and then head down this hole, and that should be the end of this gauntlet after talking to Alder and one of the gnomes. All right, and whenever you're ready taking down those 2 guys, you can go ahead and get sucked down this little sand pit, and we'll talk to Alder and the gnome like we mentioned. They'll do some yapping. Eventually, the gnome will piss off, and we'll get teleported out of the castle here in a quick sec. We head outside for some fresh air. We then get a ring on our transceiver, and we need to head over to Nacrene City ASAP. There is something going on. So go ahead and fly over to Nacrene City, which is this one down here towards the southeast part of the region. Head up north towards the gym where everybody is waiting over here. We have a ton of yapping to spam through, and eventually they'll end up giving you the stone to summon Zekrom.
All right, eventually everybody will peace out. Once we have the Dark Stone, we can head back up to Icirrus City and continue on over to this middle city, over to Opelucid. So let's go heal up and stock up. I need to buy some more potions. I'm guessing you guys might need to as well. So make sure to go ahead and just take the time, stock up. We have 70,000 Pokeyen right now, and I've already, bought a bunch of things throughout the storyline. So we're making decent Pokeyen. I'm going to go ahead and buy up to 10 total hyper potions to have in my bag for future fights. Same with revives. I'm going to buy 2 more, giving myself up to 5 revives. I might need some more max repels as well. I'm going to go ahead and buy up to 5 total of those in my bag. And while we're here, I'm going to go ahead and buy 1 X speed and 1 X attack. I don't need these right now, but that might be a powerful tool to be able to utilize in the Elite Four coming up at some point. I'll even pick up some cheaper super potions just because they can be easy and cheap to utilize outside of fights. Sometimes you want to heal your Pokemon, but you don't necessarily need to heal 120 HP. Just a little heal will do. I still have plenty of Pokeballs from when I bought them earlier on in the game. I'm going to go heal up and continue forward. All right, but it's time to head on over to the next path. You can go ahead and follow me over to the east of the PC, head down this little staircase here, and then head north past the windmill over to this little icy terrain. Now, if it is winter time, if it is icy like it is on my screen, you actually have to take a little bit of a different path. You can kind of just bike through all of this if it's not winter time for you. So this is one where it's actually a little bit more difficult if you're playing in the winter time versus in the summertime. So I have to kind of maneuver around. We're trying to get over here, over at this path. You can sort of skip through a ton of the annoyances here. Head over here. And since we are on ice, I'm just going to slide across and see what works. Slide across here. Fight any trainers I have to fight. Thankfully, I don't have to fight any at all. Make our way over here. And there might be a rival fight that triggers here. Just keep that in mind. Yup. There is Bianca, as I expected. It's typical Unova storyline. Anytime you're passing through routes, you're almost always guaranteed to have at least one rival fight. Bianca has a level 38 Stoutland, a level 38 Musharna with Charge Beam, so keep an eye out for that. It was trying to hit me with that electric type attack on my Gyarados, so that's something you have to play around, and then a level 38 Simisage. Now that Simisage is packing a powerful stab move in Seed Bomb. That's as expected, but it's also packing a Grass Gem to turbo boost that first Seed Bomb. So there's type gems like that, really powerful stuff you got to keep an eye out for on these PokeMMO trainers. And unfortunately, this is the situation where like, the Wikipedia being filled out for PokeMMO would be so helpful if we knew what items to keep an eye out for when fighting certain big fights like this. For like a Nuzlocke, it would be amazing. Unfortunately, we just don't really have access to that information. So hopefully videos like this can sort of deposit little pieces here and there and try to spread as much information about these fights as possible. There's also a Mienfoo that comes in, which should get hit pretty hard by my strength here. Hanging on with its Focus Sash, another item to keep an eye out for. Keep an eye out for Bianca's Emboar, which is actually packing Scald, which is going to hurt my defense here, or my attack, sorry, have my attack stat, which I hilariously think can then respond with a Water Pulse, which he will switch over to Stoutland on. This is going to put me in a sticky situation here. And then another burn after flinching on a Fire Fang. That is super unlucky. Some pretty crazy stuff is happening in this fight, but we should still be able to take this down. Thankfully, since we've been XP sharing over onto our other Pokemon, I do have a level 35 Duat and level 39 Crocodile over here. So hopefully this gives us enough of a position to take out this fight, but it's a lot closer than I expected. And finally, our Moxie Krokorok actually has a chance to shine. He'll be turning into a Crocodile here as well in one more level, which will be a massive power difference. And with Bianca defeated, she's going to yap to us for a while. We can go ahead and continue on heading east. We're going to go over a bridge here in a quick sec. She gives us a nice full restore, which is honestly super, super helpful for our future big fights. So carrying on, there's only one way we can go, which is east for the time being. It'll put us on a bridge where we have to head north, biking alongside all of the other Unova bikers as we do. And once you get to the end of this bridge, you'll have a bit of a yap session as per usual. Thankfully, there should not be a fight here, so even though our Pokemon are weakened, we shouldn't have to worry about any sort of resets. He tries to intimidate us, but we simply ignore him and carry on. Continue biking north. And then bike over east. And then this guy will throw a Fling TM at us because he's a baseball pitcher, of course. And then if you head all the way down to the south part of this fence, we can just bike along here, trying to dodge whatever trainers we can. So we can head over through here, head over to the next city, and then heal up and mark our PC location before carrying on with the storyline. And typical Unova, lots more yapping.
I always tell people that Unova is the most like dialogue heavy region by far, but I kind of forget how intense it is until I actually play through it again. All right, and then Iris and her dad want to teach us about Zekrom and the other dragons, so we're going to follow them into this pillar here in a quick second. We don't really need to heal up here. We're not really doing any fights, I believe, but you always want to set your spawn point when you can over at a PC. When I say that, I mean that if you white out, if you were to die in a fight, you'll be sent back to the Opelucid City PC instead of the previous one, because then we have to get all the way back here, and that would be a pain in the butt. So now, after healing, we can go see her jump for joy and continue up to this little house and listen to some more yapping, this time yapping about dragons at least. All right, and then after they're done all of their yapping, we can head back out, and we can just go take on the 8th gym whenever you guys are ready. Make sure to go ahead and buy some potions and stock up and properly prepare yourself for this fight, but I think I am just ready. Max obedience level of 46. Our Pokemon have gained enough XP, thankfully. We can just head inside here. I'm actually going to go ahead and pick up this fresh water for free while I can here. It might matter while healing in between the trainers in this gym, because you really don't want to have to head outside of this gym to go heal up and then go back inside to fight, if that makes sense. This gym is a pain to go in and out of. So I strongly encourage you, more than any gym prior, make sure you have potions and revives stocked up for this situation. I'm even going to go ahead and just use my rare candy that I have on my Gyarados now, I think. My Crocodile will be leveled up here in a quick sec, so I don't want to waste it on that. I'm going to go ahead and just use this on my Gyarados, getting him a free level up, since we'll be able to actually XP train properly. Once we get to the Elite Four, once we have the Victory Road unlocked, that'll be easy XP training. So let's just go ahead and start by battling this guy. Honestly, this guy's probably the easiest. We can go ahead and fight him and head back outside and inside really quickly, but we're going to lose the ability to head outside and inside of this gym very soon. And if it's not obvious, this is the dragon type gym, which means we should actually go teach our Gyarados a specific move. So after I defeat this guy, I'm going to head back to the PC really quickly, get dragon-tailed out like a noob. All right, but after finally defeating this super annoying Fracture, I'm actually going to head out of this gym really quick, go back over to the PC, and go buy a specific item off of the GTL to allow my Gyarados to learn a specific move that will absolutely be super helpful for this gym. And I strongly encourage you to do the same. You see, what I'm about to do is I'm going to go buy some heart scales. If you don't know, there's this guy you can go talk to. He is the Move Maniac, and you can actually relearn moves using him. And one of the moves you can relearn on Gyarados is going to be super good against this fight, is going to end up being Ice Fang. Now, we also still, unfortunately, don't have access to HM Waterfall. If you have a different region unlocked, you could just travel to that region and teach Gyarados Waterfall for free. But unfortunately, I'm also going to need some heart scales for Waterfall. So I'm going to go buy 3 heart scales for Waterfall, as well as, it seems like, 1 heart scale for Ice Fang. So 4 heart scales in total. It's going to cost me a fair amount of Poke-Yen, but this should moveset my Gyarados in a way that's going to allow me to take on the rest of the storyline much easier. Let's go to guys. They're about 7k a piece. They're not cheap. That's 2. That's 4. So it costs about 28,000 Poke-Yen. 28k to give my Gyarados the perfect moveset. Let's go relearn these moves, just like I was just showing you guys. Let's do Ice Fang here over something like... Yeah, we'll probably have to get rid of... Probably get rid of Bite or Strength. It's actually tough. We probably get rid of Strength, maybe, even though we've been using it this whole time. We're going to be switching over to Waterfall, which will be more powerful. So I'm going to go ahead and get rid of Strength. We're going to keep Bite for the flinch chance. We're going to learn Ice Fang. We're going to relearn the Waterfall now. It unfortunately costs 3 hearts. This could be free once again, but we're going to teach Waterfall over Water Pulse. The reason why that's so important, I explained it earlier, but Water Pulse is a special attacking water type move, whereas Waterfall is a physical attacking water type move. And when Gyarados has a 125 physical attack stat versus 60 special attack, the Waterfall is going to do significantly more damage. Hilariously, the Gyarados we've been using up until this point was actually wildly suboptimal. We just now got a stab move on him, which is going to make him do way more damage. So if you thought he was already powerful, buckle up. But back inside the Dragon Gym, you want to follow along over to the east here, over on top of this Dragon Tail, and just continue forward, as it's the only path you can go here until you reach this crossroad. And then you do want to head east, hop over this, and go fight this blue-haired trainer over here, heading left. And now I have a super effective move to use against all of these Dragon-type Pokemon that can also flinch or freeze them, which would be super helpful as well. Even though they might have berries like that to reduce the effectiveness, that's totally okay. I can just hit them again, and that's going to make this whole gym way easier. After defeating her, you want to hop over here onto the right arm of this dragon, which will change things a little bit. Then you want to head west and then north towards the head of the dragon, and then head west off the head, and then head south and then east and fight another trainer. Quick reminder, when fighting these trainers, make sure to not make the same mistakes like I did, like letting your Pokemon die. It is much easier and cheaper to heal a Pokemon back up with Hyper Potions and Super Potions than having to use a Revive to heal it back up. So just try to make sure you just kind of get some damage off. I was trying to set up Dragon Dance against these fractures, just totally forgot, even though just 1 second ago they used Dragon Tail against me. So just don't try to set up Dragon Dance against a lot of these fights. They're just going to Dragon Tail you outside of the fight. So just don't even waste your time. Just use your Ice Fang, do your damage with your Gyarados, and KO the dragons. All right, but after defeating that trainer, we need to jump down on this hand here, which will once again reconfigure the neck of the dragon, allowing us to head up here. We then want to head up this path all the way north, up the dragon's long neck and up its head, head east, and then south, and come down here and fight this trainer right here. Thankfully, I do get a Samurott evolution as well here, which will up my power level a bit, making this gym hopefully a bit easier. All right, then we need to head west after defeating her, head to the path that we can, and then head over to the west and drop down on this arm. Now, we can't follow this dragon's neck quite yet. We need to hop down here to the south, head over here, take this little path to the west, and then hop on his left arm by looping around like so and dropping down like this. Then we can follow along the dragon's head, make our way around this staircase over to this other blue-haired NPC over here to the west down the staircase and take this fight. Oh, all right. After a pretty tough fight, our Gyarados is paralyzed, our Krokorok is dead. We have some healing to do before continuing on. But continuing onward south, we want to head down here and then head to the west once we get down here and hop down onto this dragon's tail. We then need to hop on this same exact arm again. So we actually need to head north, follow along this path, up the dragon's, I guess, tail over here. Sorry, the arm down there, tail up here. Hop over to the east, go past the trainer we just fought and defeated, and then head back down west, and then jump on the same arm once again to trigger a different pathing. Once this is done, we can head up the actual head of the dragon, which is south down here, loop around, come fight this trainer, and then drop down on this arm. And speaking of power increases, here is our Crocodile evolution finally. That is going to raise his base attack from 82 on Krokorok all the way up to 117 on Crocodile. That is a massive power spike. And if you're like me, you are running through a lot of potions throughout this gym, but it's worth it. Just go ahead and use them where you need, and bam, there we go. I'm going to go ahead and continue forward. You can go ahead and hop down on this arm like so. And then finally, we can go back up the dragon's head down south, head up to this upper floor, head east, a little bit north, then east, then follow along this extra dragon, and then head east as soon as you can here. We do have to fight this trainer as well. My Simisear did faint, but that's a Pokemon where at this point, I don't think it's worth using a Revive on him, so I'm going to let him just hang out for the time being. Speaking of just letting Pokemon die, getting Dragon-tailed repeatedly into my Pidove is absolutely killing me, so I'm going to let it go down. This is a weird gym where you kind of only want strong Pokemon to have, but you also still want to have Sacrifice switches in the back. It's a really weird situation. All right, but with this trainer defeated, that is the final one we should have to do. I have a lot of heals to do, but just follow along, head up north, hop over to that, immediately come left, drop down on this arm here, and then we can get in the center here in a quick sec and follow up the dragon's head up to Icirrus to take on the 8th gym badge within Unova. All right, this one's for all the marbles. Let's just go ahead and start the Icirrus fight. Let's see what Pokemon she has that I have to conquer today. I'm just going to lead with my Intimidate Gyarados and hopefully get some value out of it. We see an Altaria, which is 4 times weak to my Ice Fang. So I'm probably just going to go ahead and shoot that off, not do anything fancy. It's possible it has something that could mess me up. I'm just going to go for the Ice Fang. This should one-shot the Altaria. We're looking for these Dragon types. This is what we want. We want these Dragon types that are Dragon Flying or Dragon Ground, these mons that are can be hit for super effective 4 times with my Ice Fang. Now, Haxorus is a demon. This Pokemon has so much attack power. I think this is a weird decision, but I think I'm actually going to switch over to my Darumaka just so that I can bring back in my Gyarados after it dies. I'm sacrifice switching here to get an Intimidate off because I am scared that this Haxorus kills me with a straight up neutral attack. I'm pretty sure it might be where he Dragon Claws me there. I'm scared of dying, so I'm just gonna switch my Gyarados in, get the Intimidate off, and then he's gonna White Herb, dodge the Intimidate. That is so annoying. Now I have a call where I can either switch over to my Samurott to do the same thing, to actually get the proc. Icirrus is just such powerful. This Pokemon has like 140 or so base attack if you aren't aware. I think that's the strat I'm going to go for. My Samurott's not very good in this fight. My Crocodile and my Gyarados are. These are powerful Pokemon that can do a lot of things here. The D-Claw's doing 68% to my Samurott. Honestly, less than I expected. I'm just going to go for a Slash, try to get something, but I think that's going to... Yeah, I probably should have Aqua Jetted there. That's okay. We're allowing ourselves to bring back in our Gyarados, get the Intimidate proc off, and not have it White Herbed off. Okay, that should give us some extra survivability. And I kind of want to take advantage of this survivability while we have it. We have not seen Dragon Tail happen yet, so I'm going to go for the Dragon Dance. He is faster than me. This Dragon Dance will allow me to be faster on the next attack. He only did 35%, thankfully. This is exactly the kind of position I was looking for. Now, worst case scenario is I miss Ice Fang here, the 5% chance, and then he like Dragon Tails me in response. But thankfully, we don't miss. We hit for 85, so we don't KO, unfortunately. I have two options here. I think this thing doesn't have... I'm going to bank on this thing not having Dragon Tail. I'm going to go for a Hyper Potion on my Gyarados and actually try to set up another Dragon Dance. And if I can do that safely, I think I should be good to just win the whole fight. If he crits here, he shouldn't be able to kill me still. I only have 2 Ice Fangs left. I didn't think about my PP. I forgot to heal my PP before this fight. That is a massive mistake on my end. Make sure to check yourself on that kind of thing. 38%. I have to heal here because if he crits here, it kills me. So I have to heal here. He goes for Dragon Ball, 39%. That's high roll, unfortunately. 66% HP. I'm just going to bite here because I don't need to hit. I don't need to risk the missing of the Ice Fang. Okay. So that's going to save me an Ice Fang PP as well. Zweilous comes in. This Pokemon is a pain in the butt. I'm going to Ice Fang here for sure. This thing most likely has Dragon Tail. I missed the Ice Fang. Please don't Dragon Tail me. Okay. Whew. For some reason, he goes for a... Are you kidding me? The 10% chance to burn on the Fire Fang, and he hits it. Bro just knew he would hit the burn. I now have to use a burn heal. If he Dragon Tails here, I'm in insane trouble. He goes for a Crunch and hits it. I think he has Hustle ability, which is why that did so much damage. If I miss the Ice Fang here, we simply retire from PokeMMO. I don't kill because of Yachi Berry. This fight is insane. Zweilous takes out my Gyarados in response. That might be the loss for me. I'm going to try my best. I can bring in Crocodile. My newly found Crocodile, which I didn't have prior to this fight. I'm going to go for a Crunch, get a Moxie proc, boost my attack stat, and either hope that my Crocodile can take on the next 2 Pokemon, or just use this opportunity to go for a Revive on my Gyarados. I think I'm banking on Crocodile to take these guys out. I'm going to go for a Dig here, I believe. I think this is my best shot. Or just go for a Crunch. It can lower defense. I think Crunch is better. Go for a Crunch. We hit for 93%. Just don't one-shot me. What are the odds? There's no way, right? Dual Chop doing 41% damage in return, hitting me 2 times. He shouldn't have any way to outspeed me. I go for Crunch here. I get a Moxie proc. This fight is going to be tremendously close. In comes Druddigon, the final Pokemon. This thing is extremely tanky. Oh, but I am +2 attack. I think my best chance of victory here is just to Crunch. I think I lose. Rough Skin plus any sort of attack from him. That's going to take me out. It was a really close fight. I'm going to have to do this. I'm going to have to do this fight again. And just to show you guys, it's okay to lose, you know? Even though I have 9,000 hours of gameplay, sometimes we still lose to gym leaders. And unfortunately, if you lost like me, we have to do the puzzle all over again. All right, and even through some more rough RNG, finally we are able to defeat the 8th gym leader. I almost had to do a 3rd attempt, unfortunately. It was a lot of crazy flinches, Fire Fang burns, crits in the worst situations, just rough RNG for this fight for me. So there we go. There is the 8th gym badge to achieve in Unova. Level 56 is our new max obedience level, and we can start trying to make our way over to the Elite Four. We also get the accursed TM Dragon Tail, that move that was so annoying in these fights. And whenever you're ready, you can go ahead and head over on the green platform, take your way back into town, go heal up really quick, after yapping, of course. Professor Juniper will give you the Master Ball for the Unova region, though, at this point, which is always nice to have in case of Shinies. So make sure to go heal up, and then whenever you're ready, you can go ahead and head north over where Professor Juniper was talking about. We'll head over towards Route 10 and start making our way, at least, towards Victory Road. All right, we can now start taking the route over towards the Elite Four. You want to first start heading east and go ahead and fight this trainer really quick. There's actually a handful of trainers we need to fight alongside this route. Really just heal whenever you want to and go ahead and take care of them, and we'll slowly move forward. Also, on a positive note, whether you win or lose these fights really doesn't matter. They're right over here, really close to a PC, so if you lose a couple times and gotta retry them, don't stress about it. Now, after fighting enough of the trainers, if you head far enough east, Bianca and Cheren will stop you just to check in before you take on the Victory Road. And they, of course, will want to do their infamous rival fight, so make sure to heal up before you cross this little wooden bridge, unlike I did. At this point, Cheren is packing a full-on Gigalith, and this thing can be a monster, especially against my Gyarados. It's going to be really tough to set up against this thing when he's going to be throwing off some powerful stone edges or rock slides. My best bet is to sacrifice switch over onto Darumaka, get a second Intimidate off on this thing, and just go ahead and use that to try to get off a Dragon Dance. And even still, even after 2 Intimidates, a Rock Slide is doing 49% damage to me, so it's going to be a really tough fight here. I don't know if I'll be able to win on this first attempt, but that's totally okay. We do live the second Rock Slide at a few percentage of HP, and it looks like we might actually be in a position here to possibly turn this around. There's the Gigalith down, and I'm looking for some sort of fake out Pokemon here that would be ideal for me. Superior is fine. I'm probably just going to go ahead and go for a Hyper Potion here, knowing that I can't one-shot this thing, and it might even still outspeed me at this point, so I'm going to go for a Leaf Blade, only doing 34%, so I should actually be safe to go ahead and set up a second Dragon Dance here, which is worth it, because then I should be able to sweep. The next Leaf Blade does crit, which was something I thought about. We still should be totally okay. I do need to go ahead and go for another Hyper Potion here. So we're using a fair bit of potions here, but we should be able to beat this fight, even though we were super low on resources heading into it. Is that another crit Leaf Blade? I think this thing might be increased crit chance, but that's still pretty crazy. Thankfully, 1 Ice Fang after 2 Dragon Dances takes out the Superior. I'm working on getting my Crocodile up to level 44, which is when he will learn Earthquake, which will be a massive power creep difference as well. I'm going to go ahead and use this Lipard's turn. It's mostly going to go for a Fake Out. I'm going to go ahead and go for that Super Potion on my Gyarados since I can expect that from this Pokemon. But instead we see a Night Slash, but that's still actually okay. We gain a little bit of HP while wasting the Fake Out turn. And now I can go for a Waterfall, which probably one-shots it, except it has a Focus Sash, which is something to keep an eye out for at endgame PokeMMO storylines. Nice flinch, though. That'll help us a ton. Speaking of level 44 on Crocodile, there it is. Earthquake taught on him. It's going to be huge. I'm just going to try to take on the Unova Elite Four with essentially just Gyarados and Crocodile. Just these 2 Pokemon alone should make it pretty doable to take on the Elite Four. But I might go ahead and if I have the extra Poke and just buy 1 more Pokemon on the GTL, which you should definitely do if you don't have enough high-level Pokemon like I do with a level 19 Darumaka still in my party. After defeating Cheren, he will fully heal you. Bianca will give you 2 max revives, and we can just continue forward. We don't have to fight both of them, thankfully. There's a few more trainers here before we can fully continue forward. I'm going to go grab this Pokeball for free because why not? And it's housing a Hyper Potion. Alright, but once you defeat the trainers you need to defeat, we can finally make our way over to the first gate, which will carry on our path up to the Unova Elite Four. Now, I strongly recommend make sure you have enough max repels at this point, and just potions and items and whatever you may need to get through the cave itself. Now, the cave itself, I believe we can actually get through extremely quickly if you have repels. But from this point, you'll want to just walk through all this very beautiful cinematic gates that you need the badges to be able to get through. It's all very simple. This is honestly probably one of my favorites. And eventually, you should finally make it to the entrance of Victory Road, the entrance of the Elite Four journey within Unova. And once you make it to this spot, you can actually just fly back to it. So if you want to fly back to Opelucid City, get some potions, do some repels that maybe you forgot, this is your last chance. Go ahead and go grab them. We can continue on forward whenever you're ready. So let's just go ahead and jump into it. I'm going to jump into Victory Road and immediately pop a max repel. You can go ahead and follow along the path that I take. We're going to head over to this staircase in that first room. We're going to head down and fight this blue-haired girl trainer. All right, but after defeating here, we can continue over here and exit outside this door. If we then walk one pace to the east, these guys will teach a 10-year-old kid how fun it is to jump down mountains. We do a quick zoom in for dramatic effect and realize we can head over here, drop down, head over here to the east, head inside this door right here, loop around this little water body to head over here to the staircase and head up it. We can then go outside this door right here and then go back inside that door because I was just kidding. I was actually just testing you guys. You passed the test. You then want to head over here and head up this staircase and then fight this NPC right here. I might need to take a break today before actually doing the Elite Four because my RNG is just atrocious. I don't know what's going on. I ran a wild charge out of a Stoutland that also critical hits to take out my Gyarados. This has just been the average for today. Just absolute worst timing on critical hits, flinches on things like Fire Fangs into a burn. It's been brutal, and sometimes that's Pokemon. Thankfully, it's just the storyline. So you know what? It could be worse. And thankfully, I stocked up enough revives where I should be able to go ahead and just use my last one here on this Gyarados. I will definitely have to buy some more heading into the Elite Four. But let's head outside of this door like this. Head all the way over west to the furthest left door. And then head up like this. You could dodge this trainer, but unlike me, I forgot to. We need to go up this staircase next. All right, my Pokemon team is being destroyed, personally. There's about 2 trainers left to dodge. I don't actually have to fight any of them, so movement is going to be important for me personally. I assume it might be the same for you guys. What you want to do is you want to head up that staircase there, loop around this path over here, over to this staircase. Go ahead and head up here. Take the northern staircase up here, where there will be a trainer right below us. You need to be careful here who can run into you. Now, we need to dodge this trainer very carefully and make our way down to the bottom right door, head out through that, and then head over to this right opening in the fence, drop down here, head inside this door, and slowly make our way up a few flights of stairs because there will be a trainer right here that is very easily dodgeable, but you can make a simple mistake and get killed and sent all the way back to the previous PC. So now we can head up this staircase and head out here, and that should be it. If you made it to this point, welcome to the Unova Elite Four. It is time to heal up, probably do some XP training, maybe buy some XP candies to save some time, and take on the Elite Four. Now, the Elite Four is a true gauntlet of fights that can be very difficult, have a ton of RNG, and really change between each run based on the lead Pokemon that you pick and your opponent's pick, as well as the potions you have left, the revives you have left, etc., etc. So I'm going to do my best to show you guys each fight individually and distinctly while showing you the big threats to keep an eye out for and trying to guide you guys through it, but you will have to make a bunch of your own decisions through these fights to become a true Pokemon master. Now, one of the things I can help you on the most is Elite Four preparation. So I'm going to show you what I do personally to prepare before any Elite Four fight in PokeMMO. Step 1 is I'm going to be getting a Stealth Rock sturdy Pokemon. This is going to do a ton of things. They're very, very cheap. I already have a bunch of Pokemon in my party that I'm not really using, but a Stealth Rock sturdy Pokemon is going to allow me to set up Stealth Rocks before every single Elite Four fight. The reason why that's possible is because in PokeMMO, when you defeat an Elite Four trainer, I'm going to grab this Onyx because it actually, I grabbed the Boulder, I think. The Boulder is level 43, so maybe I could use it for things after. But I like that the Onyx has a 31 stat. Let's go for high level one, actually. I'm going to do that personally. Level 50, let's do level 50 plus. See how the cheapest with the cheapest ones. That's too expensive and too high level for me. Let's just change this and lower this perhaps. But what I was trying to say was Stealth Rocks are really, really good against Elite Fours because they help you break. Perfect. I'll just grab that Boulder. They help you break a lot of Pokemon's sashes, sturdy abilities, and just chip down Pokemon to the point where you can actually kill them where you maybe couldn't have previously. Hitting a Pokemon for 25% damage because it's weak to rocks or 50%, I always say in the Kanto Elite Four especially, in the Kanto Elite Four, if you throw out a Stealth Rocks when you picked Venusaur and your rival is on Charizard, that Charizard is going to take 50% of its HP just trying to switch into the fight. We'll see a lot more once the fights actually start, but I'm a massive fan of sturdy Stealth Rock in Elite Fours. It doesn't always work, but it's one of the easiest things you can do. It's super cheap. One of the quickest things you can do to make your Elite Four runs a lot more consistent. Now, next up, I need healing items and tons of them. I'm talking hyper potions. I'm going to need at least maybe 10 of total. We'll buy that many. Revives, I'm going to need at least 5, if not 6. Probably 6. Let's just go for that. I might even buy more potions, honestly, while we're at it, up to like 16 or so. Hyper potions and revives are the main things I need. I have a few X items that I bought previously. That should be the main healing items that I should use. Now I have 14,000 Pokeyen left. What do I want to buy? Well, step 1, I still have an XP share on my Crocodile. I don't really want that. I actually want a soft sand on him. So I'm going to go ahead and go over to items. Go grab myself a soft sand for about 3,000 Pokeyen. Go equip that over to him. That's going to increase his earthquake damage by 20%. And now to fill out the final 2 slots, I think I'm just going to head over to my PC and probably grab some Intimidate Pokemon. I don't need to go get like more powerful Pokemon off the GTL. It's not going to be worth to like XP train them to actually make them usable here. I think just picking up some Intimidate Mons to be able to have some sacrifice switches is all we should need here. Now, if you're like me and only have one more Intimidate Mon over in the PC, I'm going to have to go buy a cheap one off the GTL really quick. You can go to Advanced Search, scroll down, and go to Has Ability Intimidate. I'm going to go even try to get like a high level one just because I can. We'll do our max obedience level tap, etc., etc. I can go buy myself an Intimidate, a Krokorok here. Why not? For 2,000 Pokeyen with Brave Nature. There we go. Now, I unfortunately only have around 9,000 Pokeyen left here, which is not as much as I would like. So I have 2 options. I could go XP train all my Pokemon until they are actually high level, around 56, to be able to use them. Or I could go try to buy some XP candies, with whatever Pokeyen I have left, and just use those to level my Pokemon. I think considering that the average player probably won't have that much Pokeyen by the time they reach this point, or it's very limited, and using XP candies like this is kind of expensive, I'm probably going to go try to level up my Pokemon just naturally the way the average player would. And if you don't know what that looks like, it's going to be involving Sweet Scent. So another Pokemon I need to go buy. I need to go buy a Pokemon with the move, Sweet Scent. We're going to search for the cheapest priced one. We're going to grab this Icirrus for around 2,000 Pokeyen. We're going to grab that into our party. And then we're going to head over to this Pokemon, head over to the star here, and hotkey bind this to a key slot where you can use it repeatedly. Now, if you are under-leveled like I am, level 47, level 45 Crocodile, you should not even think about, in my opinion, taking on the Elite Four yet. You are not ready, the same way I am not ready. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go do some XP training. So I'm going to go ahead and go put my Crocodile out into the lead with Earthquake, which would allow me to hit multiple Pokemon. I'm going to put an XP share on my Gyarados and an XP share on my Boulder, I guess, the 2 Pokemon that probably, or my Samurott, I guess. You know what? I probably won't use the second XP share. I'm probably going to take that off. I'm probably just going to try to focus on XP training my Gyarados and my Crocodile. They should be all I need to take on the Elite Four. Now, I know we just made our way here, but I'm going to show you what I'm going to do personally. So my Gyarados is not fully EV trained, the same with my Crocodile. I'm going to head personally over to Opelucid City because I want to do some attack EV training. The way I would do that is by killing hordes of Bouffalants over here just north of Opelucid City. So if you head north of here, like so, head over to the patch of grass over here. You can use your Sweet Scent with our Icirrus to get hordes of 5 Bouffalant. And every single horde of 5 Bouffalant is going to get you 10 attack EVs on your Pokemon, which is going to allow them to do more damage. Now, not every Pokemon wants attack EVs, but my Gyarados and my Crocodile most definitely do. So I'm going to go ahead and hit them with an Earthquake, hopefully do enough damage to KO them all, which I thankfully do. That's going to split the XP and EVs between my Crocodile and my Gyarados. I'll sit here until the attack EVs are at 252 on both Pokemon. And then I'll show you where I head next to go ahead and XP train.
All right, but after about an hour of training in total, about 30 minutes or so at Bouffalont, and then 30 minutes or so over at Heatmore, which if you don't know, this is how you get to this spot. This is where I XP train personally in Unova, right here on these little crackled rocks. You can go for a Sweet Scent. Usually just XP training right next to the Elite Four, usually somewhere on Victory Road, is the best when you're going for the Elite Four. So I'm going to go ahead and finish off. This will be the final Earthquake needed to get level 56 on both my Crocodile and my Gyarados. This should give me at least 1700 XP. Now, with only 2 Pokemon powerful enough and at max obedience level, this is going to be a no mistakes allowed Elite Four rerun. It's going to be really close. It's going to be really tough. There's not going to be much room for error, so I'm going to have to lock in, but it's finally time to get started. We can now go attempt the Elite Four. I have 6 revives currently. I'm going to go buy a few more of those, I think. At least 2 more. Yeah, it's going to put me at 1,400 Pokeyen left. Very, like, almost nothing left. I kind of want to go for an X speed. I already have 1 X speed. I actually don't have enough. I don't have enough for an X speed. That's it. 1,400 Pokeyen and a dream, fellas. Let's see if I can do it. Good luck to you guys in your runs as well. Whenever you're ready, you can go talk to this guy and start your Unova Elite Four attempt. He will guide you inside. You will fight 4 people in a row. But thankfully, one of the biggest parts of the PokeMMO Elite Four that a lot of new players don't know is that every time you defeat one of the Elite Four members, your party is fully healed, which is why the Stealth Rock setter is so good. So you can plan your strategies around that. I'm going to start off over here, just going from left to right. I don't remember the exact typings of everybody. I think this girl is either Dark or Ghost. She can be pretty difficult. Those are some of the 2 ones I'm honestly the most worried about, but Crocodile can sweep them if you play around them properly. Let's go ahead and get started. Elite Four Shauntal leads with a Jellicent. I'm going to go ahead and do my lead with Stealth Rock Sturdy, of course. There's going to be some times where the opposing Pokemon uses a multi-hitting move or something that breaks through my Sturdy, but as long as I can get it up, like, some of the time, a fair bit of the time, that is the ideal situation. So I'm going to go ahead and set up Stealth Rocks. My only fear here, part of me wants to go Crocodile and go for Crunch. My only fear is, I think I'd rather chip this thing down first. I think I'm just going to go Gyarados. Crocodile can sweep this fight if he gets going. The problem is I don't think I can one-shot this Jellicent without the Stealth Rock chip. If I actually had Stealth Rock chip on this thing, that might be the exact damage that I need. I don't think this thing is going to have Thunderbolt access. It could, is the scary thing. I think this thing could. It has, we know it definitely has, probably has Ice Beam, Scald, Ice Beam. It could even just Scald Fish. I'm just going to go for the Bite. Usually you would go for like a Dragon Dance here and try to set up. But I'm a little scared of, there's just a Scald. Okay. Now that we simply see a Scald, I get burned. That's okay. The main Pokemon for this fight for me is Crocodile. I'm going to go check my bag to see if I have a burn heal and how many of them I have. Don't tell me I don't have a single one. Don't tell me that. That's unhinged. No way. I should have gotten more heals heading into this fight. That's unfortunate, but that's okay. I think I'm just going to start Dragon Dancing up against this thing, even though I'm burned. It doesn't do that much damage to me. Let's see what other attacks. Shadow Ball does 20%. That's okay. Okay, I'm going to start D-Dancing up. The special defense drop is so unfortunate. Okay, I might have to just start attacking. There's a lot of unfortunate things happening. First, Scald Burn, which is going to happen. We're just going to bite this thing and go for it. Let's try to get some chip damage off and present an opportunity for our Crocodile to sweep. Next up is Cofagrigus. This thing is a tanky monster, but shouldn't be able to do too much damage. Just that little bit of chip, honestly, from our rocks is so beneficial here. If he kills me, if he Thunderbolts me, and I can bring in Crocodile, it's totally okay. Shadow Ball, he does have a Citrus Berry. Keep an eye out for that in your own fights. Cofagrigus does have a Citrus Berry. I'm just going to keep biting, I think, for now. So it's important to know in this situation, if you have something like Rain Dance, Waterfall would actually be better here. Waterfall with Stab is 80 and then plus 40 damage. So it's doing 120 damage. Bite is 60, but doubled because it's super effective. So it's also doing 120. The difference is that Bite has a 30% chance to flinch and Waterfall has a 20% chance to flinch. So Bite is better here, but it's actually really, really, really close. If you have Crunch on your Gyarados, it is much better here. I'm okay with my Gyarados going down. I'm really relying more on my Crocodile in this fight. I really do wish we took out more of the speedy threats, I will say. Jellicent and Cofagrigus are both really slow. And the biggest problem with my Crocodile is going to be his speed is not amazing. Drifblim can be... This thing definitely has Thunderbolt, I'm pretty sure. Do I want to go for the Ice Fang? I think I do. It's going to do more damage. And it has a chance to flinch or freeze, which I would love some good RNG. We get a really lucky flinch, and do you see how much damage this thing took? The damage this thing took from switching in on Stealth Rocks is going to make this possible. Now I go for Bite because it's 100% accurate, whereas Ice Fang is 95. Gyarados is taking down this fight even through the burn. Next in comes Golurk. Gonna do a little bit of chip, just a little bit of chip damage. I can waterfall him. That's gonna allow me to do way more damage. That might actually KO him. Gyarados is sweeping through the burn with 1 Dragon Dance. That's insane to me. Final Pokemon is Chandelure. Even if Gyarados, if he outspeeds, I win. I think I should actually because of the... I think I win this now. That's amazing. Also, Chandelure taking 25% there from the Stealth Rocks. The Stealth Rocks put in so much work this fight. That is the first Elite Four member already down. I'm actually going to go ahead and put an XP share over on my Krokorok in the back as well, since these don't need any more XP. This guy's level 50. I bought him just as an Intimidate Pokemon. I forgot to actually bring... I didn't mean to bring my sweet Centenniursa. Sorry, I just woke up the next morning and decided to jump into the Elite Four, so I'm a little drowsy, and it's kind of costing me, but I'm still able to beat it because of the preparation. The Elite Four is all about being rewarded for the proper preparation. Let's go to the next trainer. This edgy fella at the top of this mansion. Let's see what Pokemon he has. This is Grimsley. He's going to have dark types. He has his Scrafty, which can be a massive problem. I'm just going to play it safe here and go ahead and do my typical Stealth Rock strategy. We got healed up, of course. I'm going to set up Stealth Rocks. He has Drain Punch. This thing would absolutely obliterate my Krookodile. It's better for me to just go ahead and I'm just gonna click something here, but I just want to go over to Gyarados here. This has Moxie. I cannot Intimidate, Sacrifice Switch. I cannot do a ton of things here. I'm just going to use my own Gyarados to Intimidate it once, bring Gyarados in, Intimidate, reset that Moxie, which is huge for me, and then probably go for a Dragon Dance. This thing... having Moxie can get out of control really, really quickly, so please be aware of that. Watch out for this Scrafty. Please don't have Thunder Punch is something I was about to say out loud. That is really unfortunate. This Scrafty can counter my entire team. I have to just Waterfall and hope I do enough damage and/or flinch him. Oh my god, the Rocky Helmet. Okay, that's my Scrafty gone, or my Gyarados gone. This fight just got really intense. This fight just got really, really close. Thankfully, my Krookodile can come in, outspeed him, KO him, and then I'm going to Earthquake so I don't take Rocky Helmet damage. I can outspeed, KO, get a Moxie proc, and hope to snowball on my Krookodile here. Absol comes in. This thing usually has Sash, if I'm not mistaken. It's a very fragile Pokemon, so it really needs it. I'm hoping he doesn't Sucker Punch here. I'm just going to go for the EQ. EQ takes it out. We are snowballing with our Krookodile. In comes Liepard, and here's a weird decision I have to make. I have to figure out if I want to go ahead and go for my X speed here, or if I need it. The problem is, even if he fake outs me, I don't think I need it in this fight. I'm just gonna Earthquake, under the presumption that maybe he won't even fake out, which he doesn't. I want to save, I only have 1 X speed. I want to save it for a fight where I really, 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 really need it, to allow my Krookodile to just absolutely disgustingly sweep. And this is what I was talking about when I think Krookodile is the best Pokemon in the entire game for the Unova Elite Four. He just sweeps entire Elite Fours. If you can get him positioned well and get him going, look at this. If you're having a hard time in the Unova Elite Four and you keep replaying and replaying and replaying it, just every single time, just try to reposition your Krookodile in a different way. Try to bring him in on a Pokemon that's low HP, and eventually, even just RNG wise, eventually you should be able to position him to where he just snowballs off and pops off. He's just so insane with his Moxie in this Elite Four. And that is 2 out of 4 leaders done. Now, keep in mind, the Unova Elite Four is a pain in the ass. Not only do you have to fight the 4 Elite Four members, you also have to fight the rival fight afterwards. That's normal, that's expected. You also have to catch Zekrom, and then you also have to fight Ghetsis. And if you lose any of these fights, you are reset. It is really, that's one of the hardest things about Unova. The Elite Fours aren't that bad, but it's like 6 or 7 fights in a row as opposed to 4 to 5. I believe this is is there like a ghost dark? There's so many ghost and dark type trainers. Maybe this girl is Psychic, if I recall correctly, but it's on to the 3rd Elite Four member. Yeah, she might be Psychic, if I recall correctly. Metagross lead. I'm just going to set up my rocks as per normal. Probably do the exact same thing that I've been doing, is set up rocks, go to Gyarados after, try to set up with him, sweep as much as possible with him, and then to rely on Krookodile as a backup. We did see Bullet Punch priority out of him. I think I'm just going to go Gyarados. I think I might even just like hit Waterfall, I think, on Gyarados here. I can't Intimidate him. That's unfortunate. I don't know if Dragon Dance is going to be relevant here. Yeah, I 2-shot with Waterfall, which is what's relevant. I don't know if he has Thunder Punch. I don't know if he has something crazy. Metagross has too much bulk and too much damage to risk setting up on. You do want to try to Dragon Dance or set up on like weaker hitting Pokemon. Liepard in the previous fight would have been a decent example, even though it came in pretty weak. Let's see what the next Pokemon is. Reuniclus. This Pokemon does not hit that hard, but I'm pretty sure it usually packs a Thunder. With Gyarados, I'm just constantly afraid of Thunder moves. And I believe this thing usually packs a Thunder move. I'm going to go for the Bite here. Just getting pure damage. Trying to... Yep, there is Thunder. Pure Thunder. Not just Thunderbolt, not Thunder Punch, just absolute Thunder. And because I went for Bite there instead of Dragon Dance, now I can bring in my Crocodile, go for a Crunch, KO this thing, and get a perfect Moxie proc, which is going to allow me to hopefully sweep the rest of this fight. If I need to X-Speed, we can talk about that, but for now, like, we just cook him up. Sigilyph comes in. I should be faster than this Pokemon, I believe. The only thing that can really hurt, it's why you really don't want a Brave, it's why this one is like a backup one. You really don't want a Brave Crocodile. He's 92 speed, which is solid, but if you get that minus speed nature, it really takes you out of being able to outspeed really crucial matchups. Being able to outspeed everything here is the only reason Crocodile is able to sweep. Gothorita, Gothitelle is up next. We've seen Metagross, Sigilyph, Reuniclus, Gothitelle. This Pokemon is extremely tanky. Let's see if I can one-shot this thing with my attack boosts. Yes, I can. And then Musharna. And this thing should get outsped every day of the week. And it's pretty bulky, but it should get one-shot with my attack boost. We are absolutely sweeping the Unova Elite Four with almost Crocodile alone. Also, our back Krokorok is evolving into Crocodile. I will take that every day of the week. There is no species clause or item clause when it comes to the Elite Four, which is really relevant to know about. All right, on to the fourth and final Elite Four member, but then we have a lot more to do. A lot of other fights afterwards, unfortunately. This is the fighting type guy. He can be problematic. He might actually be the most difficult one for us, so hopefully we don't sweep all this way and then lose to him. We're going to have to play pretty safely and smartly here. Very normal start. Just going to go ahead and try to set up Stealth Rocks, which we successfully do get off. Beautiful. Now, all the fighting type attacks will hit me for super effective on my Crocodile since it's Dark type. My Gyarados is, he'll actually ignore my Gyarados is his Intimidate, unfortunately, with Storm Throw, because it will always crit, which crits hit through attack reductions. Stone Edge coming out, only doing 36%. Wow, very minimal damage there, thankfully. I can do one more Dragon Dance, but I'm really scared of a crit here. If he manages to, like, Stone Edge crit plus... It shouldn't kill with a crit, but if he manages to Stone Edge crit plus bring in, like, a Conkeldurr with Mach Punch, that's, like... Which is very likely to happen in this fight. Okay, we have 2 Dragon Dances up. Now I start sweeping. Waterfall one-shots him. Beautiful. He definitely has a Sock. Yeah, I was just... I know he has a Throw and a Sock. He has a Throw and a Sock, and I believe a Conkeldurr. I don't remember exactly what else. Sock comes in. This thing can be really fast and usually will pack a Focus Sash, but the Rocks chips him down a little bit. We're able to one-shot him. I don't know. I don't think that crit mattered, but if it did, that's really lucky. Our leftovers is sustaining our Gyarados back up to green HP, which is huge. A Lucario comes in, pretty powerful. Definitely, usually almost definitely packing a Focus Sash. This frail Blast Cannon hyper offense got him on. There is the Conkeldurr we talked about coming in next. This guy is a bit of a beast. He might live my Waterfall. I'm going to be super honest. We'll have to see, though. I am +2. 93.9. I think that might kill him. He's a bulky boy. He can be a really difficult Pokemon to deal with in these fights. And then finally, a Mienshao is the final Pokemon, which I should be able to outspeed in one shot for sure. Whew, that should be the Elite Four, main 4 members completed with 2 Pokemon. Well, 3, I guess, if you count this. The Stealth Rocks did so much work in these fights. All right, whenever you're ready, you can hop on the green circle, make your way over to the middle little icon here, talk to this, and then we have a giant staircase to run up and a bunch of beautiful visuals. Some of my favorite visuals in all of Pokemon are during these moments, to be fair. It's a lot of long walking and hallways, but it's very eloquent. It's very, epic, for lack of a better word. It's good for Pokemon, okay? It's a beautiful situation, in my opinion. Alder versus N. I don't know why the audio just cut out there. It just naturally did in the game. Huh. But it's a cool visual, man. This is one of my favorite things in all of Pokemon. There it is. The Unova stuff gets a little real sometimes, a little dramatic. Alright, but basically N defeated Alder, so now he gets to put his ideals into place and try to separate all Pokemon from their trainers. We're gonna go try to stop him in the process. Here's the gnomes. I know these guys aren't actually called gnomes, but I just like calling them that, and sometimes it baits, comment engagement. I know that they're actually goblins, guys, okay? Don't worry. We have our cute little anime moment where all of the trainers that we've defeated up until this point in the storyline come to our aid to help fend off the goblins so that we can have our main character moment and keep pursuing N. So once they're working on that, we can just continue onward and head basically through this little doorway, head over to the east. You want to head to each side, essentially, each time. Up each staircase like so. The beautiful water on the outside here was always so cool to me. You can go to like the rooms and the shadow triads and learn more about N's upbringing. If you would like to explore the rooms and such, you absolutely can. I don't think you need to, if I'm not mistaken. I think you might need to like view this one or like hop in here for a sec. I don't think you actually have to do any of that. I think you can just skip it all. So we're just gonna skip that, continue heading up all the staircases and just try to get to the fights. So just keep looping around. Just going in a straight line, basically. Making your way up the staircases. He's gonna be like, yo, this is where N, like, hung out. We don't have to go to it. We can just ignore it. Don't care about it. I mean, it's a really cool backstory. I recommend looking if it's your first time playing through it. Probably my favorite storyline in Pokemon is Unova. We just continue forward. I think we go through here. Ghetsis stops us because he's a stinker. Now, it's very important, okay? Before you head into this room, put your weakest Pokemon, or the Pokemon that you are willing to lose the most just from your party, not permanently, in the final slot of your party. If I recall correctly, after you catch Zekrom, what you have to do here, it will replace this slot in your party. It will actually bump your whole party down. So, like, this will be in slot 2, and this will just be bumped. This will be put in your PC, essentially. But please, remember to put your weakest Pokemon here. My backup Crocodile was here. That would be a huge mistake if I lost my Crocodile here in this fight, as opposed to the Pidove. So please make sure to put your weakest Pokemon there. That is one of the dumbest and most frustrating ways to lose an Elite Four run. I wish the game, like, told you this, or, like, let you actually pick properly, but it doesn't. So I'm telling you now, your last Pokemon in your little party there will get put to the PC after you catch Zekrom. Also, make sure you have enough Ultra Balls, Timer Balls, get some powerful Pokeballs that are going to allow you to catch a powerful Pokemon, because you're going to have to catch a powerful Pokemon here. Now, you will get healed after the fight, if I recall correctly, thankfully, but you can't lose the fight. You do have to catch Zekrom before you can take on N. If you fail to catch Zekrom, it will reset you, if I'm not mistaken. So make sure you don't fail to catch him. In comes Reshiram. Talk about beautiful animations, as per usual. And we hear a grumble off in the distance. The Darkstone in our bag is trembling. And in comes our baddie, Zekrom. He's got his Reshiram. Here comes our counterpart. Zekrom spawning in off the Darkstone. N will basically yap to us for a little bit and say he wants to watch us catch Zekrom, and that's exactly what we do. For whatever reason, we listen to him very carefully. So I'm going to go ahead and jump into this fight. Now, unfortunately, the Stealth Rock lead here is going to be irrelevant.
setting up Stealth Rocks is totally irrelevant here. He's never going to switch out. So all I'm going to do here is just go ahead and go for a Rock Slide and just get off a little bit of damage if I can. He's going to Volt Switch, just killing my Boldor. And this is where the Gyarados is in a rough situation, because Gyarados obviously gets hit very, very hard by his electric type attacks. It's actually this is a very, very difficult fight for the person with my kind of team, right? So my best chance is either to, he's Dragon Electric. So I think I can Earthquake him. I'm gonna head over to my Crocodile in the back first. Moxie is irrelevant here. I can't get use out of that. It is a mixed attacker, so it is relevant to intimidate it. You also don't want to do 2 damage. That's another like big factor. I just did 58%. This fight is so weird, is the best way to put it, because as you can see, I just did so much damage to this thing. I'm now gonna switch over to my Gyarados to get another Intimidate off, and maybe try to like throw up a Bite or something with my Gyarados and just hope it shouldn't KO at that point. He goes for a Crunch. I'm gonna go for a 0 D-Dance. I could go for Waterfall actually, since it's not very effective. Ideal. I want to do not very effective damage. Also, Zekrom's AI is not smart AI, as you can see. Most of PokeMMO's AI is smart AI, where like it actually clicks the moves that's super effective. Like, it's clicking Crunch against my Gyarados. This thing is full RNG. Now, I don't want a Waterfall here because a crit would actually kill this. And if you crit, you have to refight it, which is super annoying. I don't think I have any Pokemon with Yawn or any... Trying to status the Pokemon to help catch it is obviously very, very ideal. I think I just start going for Ultra Balls. You do get 3 free Timer Balls that I got from the storyline, for example. Once it hits turn 11, that's when Timer Ball is at its peak. So I'm just going to try to start trying to catch this thing. I could keep Intimidate switching if I want to, honestly, to help it, like, tame it down to make it easier. But I'm hoping this should be okay. I'm going to start just throwing all my Ultra Balls and Timer Balls once it gets far enough into the fight where it's relevant. Ooh, close. And there we go. I got him after 3 or 4 Ultra Balls, I believe, at 23% HP. Let's see where he goes in my party. I think he kicked the Pidove out. I think the Pidove went back to the PC. We got this Crocodile leveled up. Yep, the Pidove. So it's the bottom slot of your party. Gets kicked out. And here we go. N is going to heal me up. The problem is, I don't think it lets me switch my... I don't know if I can switch my party... Yes, that's an unfortunate... You can't do anything about that. So I had a specific setup. I wanted to lead Stealth Rock here, and I now just can't because of the way the end fight works, which is a pain in the butt. So now we have Reshiram versus Zekrom, and I probably just go ahead and go for like the tied matchup and just go for this. I don't know if it's a speed tie. I just Dragon Claw. I just try to get this matchup neutral if possible. Dragon Pulse. Let's see what happens here, because even if, for example, if he, like, outspeeds me here, if it is a speed tie, then I can bring in my Crocodile and start Moxie setting up. So I'm going to go ahead and take care of the Reshiram, and I want to bring in my Stealth Rock Pokemon here whenever possible as well. I could also weirdly go ahead and Hyper Potion here if I wanted to. I don't know the speed matchups here. I'm going to try to Volt Switch if anything, but nope. This is the Zoroark. As soon as you see a Pokemon, use the Night Days. Don't forget about Zoroark. This is not Archeops. This is a lie. This is actually Zoroark. Do not get baited by it. Do not get tricked. Which allows me to actually go into my main Crocodile, I think. Or should I just go set up... I'm going to set up Stealth Rocks first. There's no reason... Because now, well, we know he has an Archeops in the back. And Archeops is going to take really good damage from this Stealth Rocks later on. It's that information game you've got to play with Pokemon. So I'm going to go ahead and set up Stealth Rocks. Hopefully I don't get flinched. Thankfully I don't get flinched. I'm going to let myself go down. Flamethrower we've seen. I'm going to bring in my Crocodile here afterwards, essentially, and go for an Earthquake. Even though it looks like this thing is an Archeops, we know that it's not due to just proper information. We know that it's not an Archeops. We can go for the EQ. He Focus Blast doing 85%, which is a nightmare. But this EQ should one-shot this thing in return. It's got a Focus Sash. If only we had our what's it called up. That's so sad. In this spot, I think I weirdly Sacrifice Switch. This thing is so fast is the problem. Oh, this is so unfortunate. It outspeeding my Crocodile is so sad. I think it just outspeeds everything. Oh man, this is actually a really tough spot. It could miss the Focus Blast. I could just Hyper Potion. I think that's my best odds, honestly. This fight is going to get really complicated really quickly. Does Hyper Potion even heal enough? I don't even know if it heals me enough, actually. I'd have to, like, full restore. I have max revives in the back as well. Let me just... God, this is actually so close. Oh, man. Intimidates does nothing. It might be... I really want my Crocodile in this fight, but I think it's actually ideal to just hope he misses, something like that. Flamethrower. Maybe I should have gone for the Hyper Potion. I'm going to let my Crocodile go down and allow myself to revive it in the back, essentially. I'm going to go Gyarados now and just go for a Dragon Dance, which will allow me to outspeed him next turn. He goes for a Flamethrower randomly. I was expecting a Night Daze there. I don't know why. I don't understand. Sometimes the Pokemon AI is so smart, and sometimes it does stuff like that. We will take it. I need every advantage I can get, honestly. I'm going to go ahead and go for the one D-Dance that will allow me to outspeed here. I can go for Waterfall, take out the Zoroark. We know there's still an Archeops in the back. We don't know what else. Navigating that Zoroark can be one of the most difficult parts of this entire fight. Carracosta is coming in. This thing has Stab, Stone Edge, and Rock Slide, which could be a nightmare for my Gyarados. This is a really, really tough fight. Does not have Water Absorb, so I can go for the Waterfall. I can two-shot this thing. You do not want to set up against this thing. This thing can be a monster. There's the Stone Edge I was just talking about, doing 98.4% damage to me. I don't think he has Aqua Jet. I don't think he has Priority. He might. Oh, I knew it. I called it. I thought about it. But I had to make the play. Well, now I'm in a super sticky situation, as you might be able to tell. This is crazy. I'm going to go Teddiursa. I have 2 match revives. I'm going to go ahead and use one of them on my Crocodile here, because it can outspeed the Carracosta. We're going to match revive our Crocodile. He's going to KO my Teddiursa. I'm going to bring in my Croc here. Go for an EQ, I believe. KO this thing. Get Moxies rolling. This is going to be a really close fight. Really tough fight. EQ here. Getting the Moxie, taking out the Carracosta, hoping this is enough. If not, I have another max revive in the back. I have other revives I can use. I believe I still have 3 items you can use. You can only use 4 items in this fight. In any trainer fight nowadays in current day PokeMMO, they made that restriction later on. Did it dodge? No, it took 25%. Okay, I'm hoping that Crunch... Oh my god, the acrobatics damage is so much. 90%. The acrobatics flying gem. Crunch plus the stealth rocks plus the previous Moxie proc allowed me to take that thing out. That was so close. In comes Clink Clang. Does this thing have Levitate? That's my main question. I don't think it does. I actually have to look this up really quick. It does not. Its main abilities is plus or minus, and then hidden ability is Clear Body. So you want to... Don't be afraid to Google stuff. Double check. There are certain, like, it's one of those steel electric types that looks like it could have Levitate, but doesn't. There's so many Pokemon that look like they levitate, but don't actually. We take him out. Vanillix comes in. It's very likely this Vanillix actually outspeeds me. I mean, there's nothing I can really do here. I think I just go for the Crunch and hope that, yeah, that's really unfortunate. I'm not going to lie, but I don't think there's a better play there. Okay, this fight's about to get really close. This fight is about to get extremely close. I think I revive my Gyarados here. The Intimidate shouldn't matter. I don't max revive, I don't think, here. I saved that for Ghetsis. Do I revive my Gyarados or my Crocodile? He Ice Sharded, it means he's... Oh, this is actually so close. I try to revive both if I'm crazy enough. I'm gonna go revive on Gyarados like I can Intimidate switch. Blizzard just KOs me here. This is gonna be so close. I'm a little scared my Gyarados doesn't... Oh no. I'm a little scared my Gyarados doesn't outspeed here, and this was a mistake. My Crocodile should be faster, no? I think I should have... I'm gonna revive again. I'm trying to juggle in revives here. If I wanted to be super sure, I would max revive my Crocodile, but I really want to save that for Ghetsis if possible. I'm gonna revive my Crocodile here. He won't miss the Blizzard because of snow. Blizzard doesn't kill. Okay, that's huge. Blizzard only does 40%. We get the revive off. Now I can go for a Hyper Potion as my last item. Beautiful. This should give us the win guaranteed. Now I can Hyper Potion my Gyarados. As long as it doesn't crit me here. Crit or freeze.
There's still some bad RNG that could happen here, but I'm going to go for the Hyper Potion. Go for the just Waterfall to get damage on this thing. We should be good. It did have a Citrus Berry. We hit it for 46.2% on the first Waterfall. Waterfall number 2. Did we crit or high roll? 53? That is N defeated. One more fight left. All right, N does his typical yapping until Ghetsis walks forward. All right, but after a while, the Ghetsis fight should be triggered and should begin. Unfortunately, once again, our Stealth Rock lead is not up there. We're going to have to reposition. I think I'm going to do something kind of crazy here and just sacrifice switch at the beginning of the fight. This might be a little risky. It might cost me, but I think it's worth it as long as Bishop doesn't go for anything like a crazy, like a swords dance or something insane. But I'm just going to switch over to my Teddiursa, let it go down, bring in my Boulder, get up Stealth Rocks now, and then see how that works. I feel like that is going to give me the best chance. If he flinches me here, that would be really unlucky. Oh my, that's what I was worried about. That's the, it's the only way. That's so unfortunate. I talked about how sometimes you get flinched, sometimes you get with a multi-hit move. Something happens sometimes where you don't get your Stealth Rocks up, and this is the worst fight where it could happen. That's really, really, really unlucky. Oh, you hate to see it, but that's Pokemon. We've got to bring this fight back somehow. I think my best chance is going to be going over to Crocodile. I think I'm going to go Crocodile, and then I think go over... I didn't think about Defiant. Oh, I was really banking on intimidating this. Well, now I have to just stay in. Oh, no. Did I just... Oh, this is going to be a really tough fight now. I might have just thrown the entire Ghetsis fight. I mean, this is just a perfect example of unlucky Pokemon. And I mean, that just happens. I made the mistake of doing the Intimidate to Defiant, but the flinch, the sacrifice switch, that was wasting all of that. The high risk, that was... This is going to be a really tough one to come back from, if it's possible at all. This is really, really, really unfortunate Pokemon, to be honest. Zekrom or Crocodile are my next two options. I think just going Zekrom and hoping for the best is my best option here. Hope it can tank what he throws out. I'd probably just go for a Fusion Bolt and just do chip damage. We do outspeed 58% with our Fusion Bolt. This is an unfortunate... He misses a Stone Edge. Okay, our luck may be turning around. Fusion Bolt can 2-hit KO him now. Beautiful, beautiful. I wonder if it's worth setting up. I'm trying to set up X items or some sort of... I need to turbo set up some Pokemon. I think the only way I win from this point is some sort of turbo setup. I'm going to go for Dragon Claw here. He Dragon Pulses in return, outspeeding me, doing 73%. I'm going to Dragon Claw him for 77. I could switch something in here. I'm worried this thing is... pretty fast. I think I just... Do I sacrifice this becomes a question. Do I go Gyarados? What is more powerful? I think I do just sack the Zekrom. I could use an item on this turn though. But I don't think I want to revive anything in the back here. Is my only concern. Is there an item that's actually relevant here? I'm going to go for a revive on my back up Crocodile. And let my Zekrom go down. Kind of hurts to see, but I think that's the play. And then my goal here is to bring in Crocodile. I might even set up 1 X speed here and just hope to live 1 attack from this thing. I'm a little scared. What are the odds I can't kill this with 1 attack? That's actually... Don't tell me that. Don't tell me I can't kill this because I can't EQ it, correct? I'm pretty sure this thing is legit Levitate. Yes, for reference, if you're wondering the same thing, he is Dark Dragon Levitate. So he does have Levitate. Oh, I'm terrified I can't... this is really, really tough. I want to X speed here, but I'm scared I don't kill with Crunch. Crunch does 80 halved, but stab. It's more damage than cut. This is actually so scary. Also, X speed is one of my items here if it goes wrong. I think Gyarados can sweep. I'm going to go for the Crunch. He outspeeds me anyway, which I expected. Yeah, I'm just going to go for the Crunch to see if I can kill, because if I can't kill, that's a nightmare. We do thankfully kill. Ghetsis having the speedy Pokemon that he has is what's so nightmarish here. Electros comes, another Levitate Mon, which is also, speaking of nightmarish, I think I go ahead and I go for a Hyper Potion here. I only have 3 items left. I have to really, really factor that in. I think I go for the Hyper Potion here on my Crocodile.
and just hope this thing goes for a dumb move. Let's see what it goes. Giga Drain, maybe Flamethrower. That's fine. 42%. Don't hit the 10% to burn. Okay. I've been burned by so many things so far. You cannot EQ this. Do not get baited by that thing being lit up. We go for the crunch. We get a critical hit. That might have mattered. This Pokemon is so tanky. That crit very well might have mattered. We have +2 Moxie proc. We can outspeed Seismitoad. This fight is coming back. This was a very, very difficult fight. We EQ here. We one-shot. We Moxie proc. We snowball with the power of Crocodile. Bouffalant, a level 55 base speed Pokemon comes in. This is looking like a win. This is looking like a win, folks. It was so pitiful there for a quick second. Whew, and that is Pokemon, ladies and gentlemen. Just stay calm, focus up, try your best to lock in. And there is the Unova Elite Four storyline. The entire thing completed and done with. I hope your fights were much easier than mine, or maybe just as easy, depending on how you see it. I hope it was a fun time. I hope you enjoyed the Unova region. It's one of my favorites within Pokemon. I'm a Gen 1 and Gen 5 fan. I hope I didn't yap too much to where it made the guide more convoluted. I hope it added details, tips, tricks, and I hope this video and guide in general just brought you deeper into PokeMMO and taught you the game and made things easier for you and more helpful. If you thought of this about this guide, make sure to click the like button on the video. It takes 2 seconds and it helps me out tremendously. Make sure to subscribe for daily PokeMMO videos. I upload every single day. You can follow me on Twitch for streams Monday through Thursday at 12 p.m. ET. Discord's down below if you're interested in joining a beautiful community that loves PokeMMO very deeply. And if you want to go above and beyond and support the content, YouTube memberships, Twitch Primes, Twitch subs, and PayPal/Venmo help out tremendously and allow me to be here and do big projects like this. Thank you so much for watching and have a wonderful day. Yo, Petrowski here, and I wanted to thank you personally for watching the video until the very end. I really, really appreciate that. And if your name is on this list, thank you to the moon and back because you allow me to even make these videos by supporting the channel. Thank you so much for watching, and have a great day.